So I think it's live now. I'm ready to get it in tonight. Just woke up from a nap probably like an hour ago, something like that, 40 minutes ago, something like that. Been thinking kind of all week what I was going to come with on this subject about. Just in case you didn't catch it, I dropped a little thing on my other channel. The Love Is Not a Game. I dropped a little video there. It went down. Uh, I'm pretty much done with talking about the sleeping with the enemy thing. I don't feel that's a necessary subject for me to really cover anymore. I think the last one of those, the look at you now, kind of really covers all that. Um, but however, what I'm doing right now is just a quick little episode. Probably about an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours or something like that. But we're gonna do some bidding where we talk about while we're still here in Babylon. I just want to talk about your life, your diet, uh, as far as your actual how you are applying the knowledge that you do have, the resources that you do have, um, because sometimes when we're here, we get caught up in the and not just keeping up with the whoever's, but there are a lot of obligations that we're forced to face if we want to live in this society and not be scorned as individuals who are either uh, the dredges of society or someone otherwise looking to take advantage. However, while we're here, while you're still stuck in a place that many have to call home, but it's not their home, strangers in a strange land. Um, I just want to say to you that there's a few different ways to apply yourself. Let's start with the food first. I was I want to show you this because it's about gluten or whatever, and forget who sent it to me, but I just got to look for the emails that I've been getting. So just give me a second to go through my stuff. But anyway, gluten and where it's found, and it's funny because I want to say it's a it's it was talking about some kind of flour that people use or whatever, because the flour itself doesn't produce enough gluten, so they don't use it to cook with. And gluten is it's a natural occurring substance, right? So if people aren't allergic to gluten, it's something else. And when we're talking about food and diets and what we put into our bodies, um, you're not going to stop wheat from making gluten. Can you dig that? If you grew your own wheat right now, it would produce natural gluten. There's nothing you can do about that. There's no kind of soil you can grow it in, no kind of water you can grow it with. There's no way to turn the pot in the sun or to have your seeds planted where the trees are facing this way, sun can only hit them from this way. There's nothing you can do. They're going to produce gluten. So when we talk about your diet, and you talk about what you put into your body while you're still here in Babylon, what I could say is just be aware of what the actual ingredients are. So, if what you're eating has more than, let's say, 7 ingredients, you should know every single ingredient, where it's derived from, if it's a natural occurrence, a process that takes place within the cooking, and it is now present. You should know these things because you're putting it in your body. And I'll tell you what, it's easier to kill you through what people feed you, through what we eat, than it is anything else. That's the fastest way to do something to you, is to give you something that's not good for you. So while you're still here in Babylon, watch what you eat. And I know everybody says that to you, but it's like there are a lot of different products that people don't eat every day, that if they ate them, let's say twice a week, they would feel a lot better. Like a lot of people don't eat fruits and vegetables. You'd be surprised how many black folks go their whole week eating out, you know, only cook at home a couple times a week because they're too tired to do anything else. So it's like while you're still here, you can't allow the systematic formalities of these people to become your everyday routines. You have to stay within what is going to keep you alive and keep your body active. You know, so you need to eat green vegetables. Right on. You need to eat what I call the rainbow a few times out of the week. It would be nice to eat that every day of the week, but I understand it's different for everybody. So, but eating the rainbow, eating something that's blue, that's red, that's green, that's yellow, that's orange, you know, you have to put these things into your body. See, I didn't wait all week to speak so that way I could be, I don't know what's the word. I came with the message. I have a message. You understand? You need to retain the information. And people are too quick to, once again, throw in their towel because they think they know already, because they're so smart. And this is the problem. However, what you put into your body is the utmost important thing. And outside of what is in your body, how you maintain your general environment, what you allow to be in your environment. By that, I mean the cleanliness of it, the organization of it, all those things. Myself, personally, I think I leave a couple of things kind of cluttered around because that's just how I am as a person, you know. But everything is where I can get to it if I need to straighten it up for cosmetic purposes. I can do so relatively easily. But everybody's different. Some people like their stuff spick and span. They're OCD like monk. Me, not so much. But everything is clean. You know, nothing stays dirty or anything like that. But how you keep everything, how you, where it's at, the level of memorization that you have for your items, all these things are important. You know, because if you think that just paying your rent, just paying your bills, just being worried about your babies, and then just staying out of trouble, that's it, or your mortgage, excuse me, some of you are owners. Um, that is I mean, that's a conducive way to think if you're just speaking on the morality of the situation. But if you're talking about while you're still here, just like you hear right now, there's an ambulance in the background for any reason that could be happening. Um, and it could, and I'm gonna assume it's an old white person just because of the area that I'm in. But what you do, how you do things, right? How you live is a direct testament to paying attention to your environment. Because what a lot of these guys do when they go out, see, they worry about the 9 to 5 bustle. They worry about buying new clothes and keeping their hair cut and keeping their face shaved. These are things that people actually really truly do worry about. Worried about keeping their beard trimmed. They worry about these kinds of things. They're important to them. Um, so since they have this vain effort that they're asserting as if that vain effort is what's going to bring peace about the land, peace to their people, right? Because they're always speaking on the black race as if, once again, we're all just individuals and we're not a group. And they say, well, black people will do this. And I speak on black people as individuals in the case by case, but I speak on us as a group, but I speak on the different groups of the types of black people. So once again, while you're still here in Babylon, you need to be aware of everything. You can't be so caught up that you think every person who has similar skin tone or similar features is your genetic relative, distant or close. Uh, One of the most disrespectful things, that a person can try to tell you is that, once again, just because you look similar, just because They treat you similar, but not the same. They don't treat you the same. See, and I don't care what you say to me because I've been through this, I've seen it. So I just know that no matter how well you articulate yourself here in Babylon, no matter what you do, you always have to be aware that you're in a land, once again, that the people don't want you to have anything. You follow me? They they thrive on the fact that you have to work harder to stay calm in situations where the opposite party would obviously have shown their indignation, if not all out anger, vehemency. So you don't even have the ability to properly vent your frustrations while you're in this land. This is why I'm telling you to be careful what you eat, what you do. These because these things all accumulate. The totality of everything that I'm gonna be speaking on pretty much is like your fate. This is how you get to wherever you're getting to. Okay, you know, this is why I said what I said about watch what you're eating, watch what you put into your bodies, read the ingredients. You should know these things because if you don't, by you being caught up with everybody else, well, this guy has similar skin to you. He's supposed to be the same person as you. Yet you're saying, well, you know what, bro? I'm about to stop eating all kinds of meat, all meat, and just pretty much be a vegetarian that has a open fish diet. You know what I mean? And only certain kinds of fish. For that person to tell you, oh man, that's not good for you, would be for that person to not understand that the environment, if it was better suited, we could be vegans and vegetarians naturally, and we would be able to sustain our health. But that's not how the environment's put together. So this guy, once again, who might not be your genetic people, has the ability to manipulate your mind just because he looks like you, just because she looks like you. And God forbid you lay up with each other and you're in the same house and you have different thoughts and different mentalities. Once again, while you're still in Babylon, you need to be aware that everybody around you is not your ally. One of my favorite stories out of the entire Apocrypha, probably the entire Bible, it's called Bel and the Dragon. And it talks about the instances on how Daniel got thrown into the actual lion's den. And to be really brief with that, he killed a dragon and he made their so-called deity Baal, the god of the people of Babylon, he made a mockery of that god. So while you're still here, be careful about what you say. All right? Because the law of the land is still the law of the land, and the rule of the land is still the rule of the land. You can say that you don't believe in white Jesus or whatever that, or Allah or this or that, or you can try to impose whatever it is that you believe, but just be aware that you're in a place where nobody has to take that shit from you. Okay? Like, I don't know what black people are thinking. You know what I mean? Like, they don't listen to these people who are trying to tell you that you're on equal footing with people who can, they're the ones who are hosting the gun show. Okay? They're the ones with like almost all the resources, undoubtedly. When the Asians buy up the land from these people and buy up the businesses, whatever they don't translate those to being Asian businesses and Asian commerce, they leave that to the white people or whoever they bought it from, more than likely whites in this country. So the whole point is this, is that you're dealing with people who, even if you were dealing with another race of people, they don't have to treat you like you're an equal either. They don't have to. Never. It's not in the cards. Can you dig that? Because the whole point is this right here, is that you have all these guys who want to compare everybody to black people, to your people. Niggas. Talking about real niggas. No, I'm not talking about no African right now. I'm not talking about nobody but my people. Okay? We're talking about Story of OJ, the field nigga. Okay? That one. Here. Everybody wants to compare our struggle and our plight to other people that have never been oppressed to the level of oppression that black people are still faced with today. We have people who look just like us, once again, who shave their faces and cut their hair to fit into Babylon because they've realized this is the formula. See, it's a sad state of affairs when you tell the people that they're doing these things to separate us. The people do them, they gain success or they garner some type of reward. They see that you're being punished, so the consequences for your actions are different. So they're saying whatever you're doing is wrong and whatever I'm doing is right because I'm being rewarded and you're being punished. But that's not the case. You're in a land where in which it's best for them to keep you against each other. See, you think that the Willie Lynch or whoever the fuck his name is started something. That guy is nobody. Okay, in the Bible, it said that Yeshua was hung from a tree. So if you were to believe that Yeshua was black, and if you know real history, the Romans were black. Okay, at this time they were still black, mixed breed looking people. They weren't fully taken over until after the ADs. However, that's neither here nor there. So black people hung another black man is what I'm getting at. Number one. Number two, colorism and all that shit is fake. People have been dark and light skinned among the so-called Israelites, Egyptians, Nubians, Libyans, Lydians, all kinds of groups, Ethiopians, all these groups for so long. So the Cushites, when you say these things, when you listen to what people are saying, you have to understand that they must know where they're at. These people are fitting in to conform, and they believe that they are doing the right thing because they are not being punished as you are. They're being rewarded in a sense. So once again, the dynamic separates you two because you become diametrically opposed. I refuse to shave or cut my hair. You willingly do both. And you think I'm a fool for not, but yet I think you're a fool for two. So do you see the dynamic? Do you see it's a grotesque affair? And while you're still stuck in a land, once again, not your own, in the borders of your enemies. So that means that even the people that were indigenous to this land are your enemies, right? They're not your friends. So when people try to explain black on black, so-called black on black crime, they need to understand the dynamic of the Negro diaspora because they believe that all these people came from just one continent. And no, many of them were indigenous Aboriginal peoples. So while you're still here, stuck here, you need to realize that some of the people have a biological connection to the land. They believe something. Greetings, sister. How are you? Good evening. But these people that are here, that have been here, that are of the land, they are not your people. And their plight is different. So they don't see the struggle. They can't understand a dynamic of what is righteous and what is unrighteous because they'll eat a cat, they'll eat a dog, they'll eat a crow, and they'll eat that kind of thing repetitiously to survive. Where your God said to only, once again, in the book of the Levites, it says that if you eat something unclean, you are to fast for a day. You see what I'm saying? Make proper supplication and things like that. I'm glad you're doing good, sister. That's excellent. That's excellent. How was your week? Was your week all right? You know, did everything go copacetic? But yeah, we're here with people who, once again, their skin tone looks similar. And one of the most deceptive things is facial hair because certain groups of people who aren't black, maybe mixed with black, get confused for being a black person just because of the way that their facial hair will grow because they'll have short hair. So people will be like, oh, that's just a light-skinned brother, or oh, yeah, that's a brother, but this dude might be dark-skinned. He might be capable of growing straight hair. But the coarseness of the beard hair has deceived people. Once again, I look at everything to the full definition of it all because they're either your people or they're not. They can be watered down. That's one thing. They can be the stranger, I guess, in the biblical aspect. But it's a whole other thing when they're just not you and you're following their lead. Can you feel me? If they're not following the lead of the Most High, They're trying to put you in the trenches. That's just all there is to it. There's no, there's no nothing else. They're just trying to put you in the trenches. So I can't respect a person who could or would have in their mind to willingly, knowingly say something like, "Oh no, man, you need to get your hair cut, bro. You need to shave so you can get that job." But your God tells you not to shave your hair, nor to make marks between your eyes, nor to shave your beard, nor to make marks on your skin, because you're peculiar people. He tells you that. He says that to you. So why would you want to believe a person? Once again, this is the same thing. I say this almost all the time about chicks who put harsh chemicals and hard heat on their head, you know. Uh, and people don't realize, those harsh chemicals are why their hair doesn't grow. The chicks don't realize, because they're suffocating their head while they have it all. What they think is it looks nice when it's pulled back all like that or whatever, but their hair is not breathing. So there's no real room for growth. Uh, Takes years and years and years for them to accumulate the same level of growth that a, a same a same a same type of person that we are, who's truly an Afro Negro, takes them the same amount of time to grow their hair, and because they don't do these things to their hair grows a little faster. It's just what it is. So, and I'm not talking about people who buy special oils, you know what I mean, and things like that that are naturally from the earth. No, I'm talking about people who put harsh chemicals on their head. You know, what up, bro? How you doing? See, that's funny. That's funny. It is because that's the perception. That's the perception that we all will, you know what I'm saying, will garner on our minds. Like if we get used to something, that's how it is, you know. So my question is this: if you believe that, right? Black people have been seeing darker and lighter toned people for thousands of years. What kind of separation from culture would it take for us to have been, since we've been in this land, seeing dark and light skinned slaves? Since we've been here, they've had us commingled together. We've always been around each other for thousands of years before that. What could make people think that the hue of our skin is the driving difference? When, once again, your phenotype, your genotype are dictated by um, really your parents, and that's directly a generational thing, but still we're talking about being here, being stuck here, and why people don't believe nothing that is practical. What Once again, what I do to stay out of trouble, I can't tell everybody to do to stay out of trouble, because the circumstances that they've brought upon themselves or that they live within may not allow for that. A prime example, um, let's say a person says they want to go vegan, but where they live is in the middle of BFE, you know, and they can't get to anywhere. You know what I mean? They grow crops and stuff like that, and they eat pretty healthy like that, but they don't grow enough beans. They don't have enough soy, anything. You know what I mean? That could actually supplement for the protein loss that they've been eating for all these years of their life, which the iron you need to replace all these nutrients that you do actually gather from meat. And the iron from a peanut and a pistachio or whatever, from nuts and beans, are not the same kind of iron that you get from meat, but your body treats them the same because they're not the same kind of substance. It's impossible that you think a meat and beans are this, hold the same type of genetic discourse. Um, However, a person who lives in BFE couldn't possibly think of being a vegan if they've been used to, for the last 40 years in their life, eating meat. Now, they could potentially think of being, uh, I mean, sparsely carnivorous, you know, or omnivorous, excuse me, you know, where in which a large part of their diet is supplemented by vegetation, by grain, right? And then whatever else is brought forth with all these other things. Because what I'm trying to bring forth to you and put into your mind is that the ancestors, when they ate whatever they were eating, it's not the same bread that we're eating now. It's not the same any of that. The environment has changed so much that even if things have the same names, I'm sure the merit to the health isn't the same. Um, because when you read the Bible, the ancestors, especially the Israelites and a lot of other cultures, a lot of those people ate grain as their primary source of food intake. You know, corn grain being or corn meal grain being one of the most popular and one of the most formidable. So this is why when you hear about famines in the land, normally it's talking about corn and things like that. But however, just to get back to my would-be vegan in the middle of BFE, it would be hard for them to sustain this life unless they have, I mean, plush land. There can be no year of drought. There can be no bad harvest because once again, now they have to capitulate to the standards of survival. Am I gonna starve because I don't have this stuff? Am I not gonna not eat something unclean because I don't have something clean to eat? These are things that a person doesn't have to ponder or won't ponder if they're lost in the scheme of what is called Babylon. Because what Babylon does is it doesn't allow you, it won't give you the ability to really reach out and I'm not gonna say live, but at least survive on standards that you find culpable. Now, with that said, uh, chopping it up earlier, brother Andre, we talk about a lot of different things. We talk about a bunch of different stuff. Um, and one of the things I kind of want to, hit on about people being stuck in Babylon and what it really means is like, he always says, people are being who they are, or people are being, or people are who they are, pretty much in the sense that like they're being who they are genetically within on the inside. So these guys that are saying that they're Egyptians, if they're not truly Egyptians, they're probably Hebrews that come from the lineage of people that sided with going back to Egypt. Right on? If they're not true Nubians and true Nubians, they're the kinds of people when they entered into the Hamitic lands, into the land of Kemet, whatever you want to call it. These are black people who probably went to places like Nubia and Kush and stayed there and got kicked out and booted out and got sold as slaves by the same people that they went and became willing servants for. This is what happened. So, and this is another reason why I do believe that when we ask about why the black people who were slaves were so docile or so willing, some of them to be just put on ship. Not all of them fought. Some of those people just got on the ships. You got to understand that. The only logical effort in that, outside of the Most High laying his hand down on the people and putting a serious calm over their spirit, one has to presume that the Africans that used to own the Israelites pretty much assuaged the whole feeling. They were like, look, everything's gonna be all right. Just get on the boats. They're doing this for your own safety. The shackles or whatever, who knows? And we can't say that they shackled every single one of these people at first. There's only certain exploits. We have to assume that They sent some of these people with no shackles on them at first, sent them right over here. And then you had people who revolted and rebelled because guess what? They weren't Israelites. They weren't the same genetic structure. Right. So they had the ability to rebel against something that they knew that they either deserved or something that they were willing to capitulate to. However, the problems don't start there. The problems start with when we get once again to hear Babylon, because once again we have these people who are they are being themselves. They're them. That is a real Egyptian. You feel me? Dudes who look like Russell Westbrook and stuff like that, and Rajon Rondo, who have like a very, very clean face. Dudes are in their 30s with baby faces and stuff like that. Like you have to know, you have to know, like that's a powerful genetic. Number one, to not grow facial hair almost anyway, and then number two, you have to know that these are the same kind of people that you were looking at in the pictures of Egypt, only with longer hair. You know what I mean? And the little thing right there, because they didn't grow it. Right. Um, People have to understand that even when Joseph was in Egypt and he went and he Joseph totally converted to living as an Egyptian, totally converted, shaved his face and all that stuff. This is why his brothers didn't know who he was when he rolled up or when they rolled up, because he had a clean shaven face like all the other Egyptians, right? Probably had that good tea tree oil on it, so he wasn't all bumpy gump and shit. So he could pull off the look. They didn't know, but what did Joseph tell that man when he was in prison? That man told him, "I am a Hebrew. Can you dig it? Stolen from out of my land." Right, right. So people need to realize that folks know who they are and folks know who they side with. Even when you keep in mind that Ephraim and Manasseh are both half Egyptian, we don't, I mean, we don't know for a fact that those were the fake Middle Earth Egyptians, but I have to say that they are. And the only reason why I say that they are is because uh, there's other pictures that I've shown you of Egyptians with facial hair. So the reason why you're like, why is that important? The Egyptians are children of Ham. Sem, Ham, Japhet are triplets. Those dudes look the same. Their children look the same. I can't stress this enough. Cannot stress this enough. So when we have people who look different or who go outside of the ebb and flow of what it is that we understand, who feel differently than what we feel about things, I have to just think in my mind that these are people who, even if they're Semitic, they're not Israelites, and they're wayward Israelites. At best, they're wayward. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I would just rather say, like, that dude is a Philistine, or that dude is an Assyrian, or that dude is a real deal Chaldean. Right. Because the Chaldeans and us are the same people. So they're genetically the same people, the real Chaldeans, not the fake Middle Earther dudes, not none of these fake Middle Earth cats who came up here and took over the identity of the people are the ones I'm talking about. I'm talking about the real ones. Because the real ones are the ones who the fake ones came up here and stole the identities from. But once again, that's neither here nor there, because while you're still here in Babylon, people will tell you I'm crazy. They'll tell you I don't know what I'm talking about for saying something like that. They will argue me up and down that what I just said was totally a lie, but I can show you pictures of the people who don't, side by side. These people don't look nothing alike. You have black aboriginals with, coarser hair, more coarse hair than not, but you can just tell that they don't look anything like us. Then you have black people, us, Afro man, who look totally different, and only when the two bloodlines sometimes mix, is there like a discrepancy in like trying to discern the people. A prime example of a dude who I once again I listen to him, you know, whenever I can or whenever I feel like listening to him. O'Shea Duke. I always be trying to tell y'all like, but I swear, Cuddy's like Aboriginal. You know what I'm saying? He might have like a nigga daddy and whatever, but I guarantee in O'Shea's family are a bunch of those loose hair black women. Put I'll put a lot of money on it. I'll put a lot of money on it because in my own family, my aunties, like all my mama's brothers and sisters, all their hair is finer than my mom's, all of them, because even though their dad is a black man, right? He's a third native or something like that himself. My mom's dad, who's a whole nother dude, he's just a black dude. He's just a nigga. So like my aunties, like my auntie Clarine and my auntie Rose, like they have like that Aboriginal looking hair. You know what I'm saying? Their hair grow like Aboriginal people. No joke. So I always think it's weird that people think I'm just talking shit, but I'm like, no, I have people who look like this that I'm directly related to. You know what I'm saying? They're in my family. So it's like I find it hard to believe that folks want to tell me, you know, that I don't know what I'm talking about. I look at these people. I see these people from time to time. You know, my cousin that I work with, Liddell, he tells me all the time that on his mother's side, her father, that man's father was an Aboriginal, is an Indian dude. Right on. So on one side of my cousin's family, he's Aboriginal for sure. Then on the other side, he is questionably Semitic. He looks like a black person. He has hair like most black people. But once again, that's the part I'm talking about, is that we have to discern for ourselves, who are we dealing with? Who are we looking at? Once again, who are we dealing with? Who are we looking at? That is very important. Because if you're dealing with somebody who doesn't see things the way you see them, understand things the way you understand them, or feel the way you feel, trust me, you're going to be at crossroads almost all the time. It's a fact. It's a fact. This is why you have brothers who go and get jobs at places. There might be a couple other black men that work that same job. He's made it a point that he's not going to hang out with nobody, not befriend nobody, not nothing. These two other brothers, and their brothers, they go and kick it with all these white people or all these Asian people or all these Mexicans or whatever, islanders, whatever they are, or Africans, just not true to the game Negroes. You feel me? And I'm not talking about Negroes from the islands who look just like us. I'm not talking about people like them. I'm talking about not black people. You feel me? And they always want to be around them, and they hug up around these people, and they get mad because brother man has it fixed in his head that I know that none of these people mean me no good. I got this job because they told me when I first got the job, I'm the only person who can do the job that I'm doing because I'm the only one certified in it. So when you have these types of situations, you know what I mean, while you're still here in Babylon, you can only pray that people actually are this aware, this cognitive to their surroundings, to their environment. But most people aren't, because they don't know who they're dealing with. They don't realize that dude who they're like, yeah, man, that's my brother right there, man. You know, we go back. But he looked more like a loose hair Puerto Rican, right? But once again, this is the same type of dude to feed this dude. They'll feed this guy women from their community. Just feed this motherfucker women, right? We have been imposed on by all these outlying communities to try to find their way into our places. They so badly want to be you. So badly. Even though you're on the low end of the food chain, black man and black woman, they so badly want to be you because the talent, the skill, the drive, the perseverance, the endurance, all that stuff, and your patience with your enemies, the things that they don't have, a soul, a fucking soul. I'm trying to tell you, a lot of these people that you're dealing with lack soul constitution. They don't have it. They just don't have it. This is why there's a beef all the time. This is why there's a disconnect with these people, because there's no way to tell somebody who is lacking in in a crucial department where they should have, or you wish they weren't lacking, that they would somehow come up, that you could somehow change it. It's not going to change like that. You know, while we're still here, it's super duper crucial important, not just to know who you're laying down with, but why you're laying down with them. I need to be telling myself before I get to a situation, a serious relationship, because this is what all this stuff goes back to, because this is how the genetics end up messed up, is by people laying down with people that they have no business laying with in the first place. And you end up in these situations, seeing it, witnessing, excuse me, or either being, the participant, the subject to a situation where you might have a sister who's with an islander dude or whatever, and she like, oh, they're just like black people, or she dating a Mexican, or they're just like black people. All these people who they want to date, they always want to say, well, they're just like black people. This is normally I don't know how many times I've heard that. So when you get this misunderstanding, this ill education among the people, where in which the people that they choose to lay down with are just like their people, but they look nothing like you. They act nothing like you. They feel nothing like you. Right. Once again, people are talking about why would you go here? Because it's important. Because who you're with is who you're going to bring around to me. Right. Is that not crucial? I'm not sure if they know that they're lacking in a soul, sister. I just know that they know that there's something missing. They can feel it in their own physical vessel. Right on? They feel it in their own body that there's something absent. This is why when they hear a black man or a black woman sing, and my favorite person to use is Otis Redding, my favorite soul singer ever, all time. My favorite performer might be Stevie Wonder, but my favorite soul singer, period, hands down, no questions asked, Otis Redding. And when you hear Otis Redding sing, you can tell he's literally singing from his soul. And so when you ask a question like, do they know that they lack a soul? I don't know that they lack the soul constitution. I know that they know something is missing. This is what grieves them so much. This is why when we watch the movies of the white man or whoever goes crazy, sometimes the black man, they'll go crazy for one or two reasons. And this is normally like that soldier type role, right? Because for such a long time, they've been able to like turn off their ability to feel, or they just never had the ability to feel. And a lot of people laugh, and they say, this is the come to Jesus moment, but they have a moment where in which their electrons, I don't know what little bit they're working with, may actually be activated. It's in your visage, sister. It's in your visage. Can you dig it? It's in your skin. Literally. Literally. It's in your visage. See, this is the funny thing. I don't want y'all to start looking weird at people, but if you actually look at the skin tone of people, you will notice that not all black people have the same skin tone. Then you'll get to that level of like, okay, damn, who am I really looking at? Is Draymond Green really an Assyrian? Do I think that guy's really an Israelite? Is he a Philistine? Right. Can you dig it? Is LeBron James an Assyrian? A Chaldean? Right. These are things that people don't ever wager. We're not taught to think that the people we're looking at today are still Philistines, still Chaldeans, still Assyrians, still parasites. We're not taught to think like that. They have these different names now. Um, and then we have these names of people that the Most High called the heathen. Now they have name races, right? So the heathen and people who used to have names are now we have no identity for them, and now we have an identity for the heathen. And this is where, once again, while you're still in Babylon, know who you're dealing with. At least try to be cognitive of that. At least try. At least try. At least attempt to know who you're dealing with. Because if you're saying that you're still living your life on your terms, you're going to live your life and you're not going to be afraid to live your life. If that's how you're thinking while you're in Babylon, well, then you need to be circumspect of the situations that you're going to put yourself in. Because there's going to be days, for sure, that if not you, someone you love dearly is going to place themselves in an unfavorable circumstance where in which they can't escape. And the reason why they can't escape will be because it's not thought, we don't think to say, hey, you know what? These people don't mean any good for us. You know, they're not our friends. They're not our friends. How can they mean something good for us? You get what I'm saying? Like, how can a person who has shown you nothing but disdain and hatred be your people? How can they be, you know, is it just me, or does anyone else find it awkward that like folks that folks that people don't want to, what's the word I'm looking for? They just don't want to put the finger on them. They don't want to point the finger. They don't want to point the finger. They don't, it's like black people have this hard time accepting that that rewards and punishments are consequences. Both of those are consequences. Either one is a consequence. Okay? So the consequence, once again, of a person putting harsh chemicals on their head, putting hard heat on their head, putting what they call contacts on their eyes that change the way that their eyes look, right? Putting harsh chemicals on their skin to make their skin lighter, right? That's okay. So long as it gets your way, huh? So long as it gets you what you want. But then they get mad or they're upset that the people who are them, are they, don't accept what they're doing. And they say, well, you know what? That's not me. That's not who I am. And I'm not going to do that. And so therefore, once again, there's a fall off. People can't accept some of the most basic stuff. You know, when I say basic, how hard is it to understand that everybody that you deal with is not your friend? You know, they're always talking about the black community this, the black community that. Is it worth saving? This, that, and the other. If they grew, I didn't grow up in a black community. You see what I'm saying? I grew up on the hilltop, which was as a child a predominantly black area, but it's been super gentrified since since I was a child. So there's nothing like that now. It might have been the closest thing to a black community, for a long time. You have certain pockets of Seattle that have so-called black people in them, but they're infested with fucking Somalis and Eritreans and Ethiopians. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's really hard to say. Um, like, do I call that a black community? If you're going based on the skin tone and how white people think, sure, I guess that's a black community. But there are no black communities, here. And the first people to fuck you over if you grew up in a black community were black people. It's hard to think that the first person to screw. It's hard for me to believe that the first person to screw somebody over in the black community to come through was a Chinese guy or a Mexican, unless they had like a corner store there or something like that. And then it's like, once again, you black people allow these motherfuckers to come to your land, to where you live, and take over. You know what I'm saying? Because for one reason or another, they want to be just like these people. They want to have what they have. Being alive and just not being beat on your back ain't enough, you know. And I know people are like, you sound like a house nigga right now. And it's like, no, I sound like a realistic black dude right now. Because the black people, what about all the black men who died harsh and gruesome deaths in a fucking prison camps? You know what I mean? Back in the early 1900s, the late 1800s, right when they first implemented prisons and hard labor to go with them. Right, and there was no one to oversee those conditions. So it's just like, I have a hard time understanding why black people want to be so buddy and chummy with everybody when ain't nobody ever been through what you've been through. Nobody. Once again, they let these people into their communities. They buy into what these people are saying, and then they wonder why. Once again, there's a division because they want to let Du Yang and Kim Nang take shit over. And they want to say that, oh, once again, white supremacy this, white supremacy that. But the first person to stiff you, more than likely, was a black person. Almost guaranteed. And it's probably somebody in your family. So it's like, when you have people talking reckless out the side of their esophagus, I just have to wonder, you know, what kind of agenda that they have. Because they'll call me a coon, house nigga, or whatever. But it's like, what I just said is totally sensible. Makes perfect sense. They're not beating you on your back anymore. Right. There's certain things that they just won't do because they're afraid of you anyway. They're afraid of you, so they just won't do the shit. But they're not, because we're past that. See what I'm saying? They have other ways of beating you on your back. They beat you on your back by making you pay rent, mortgage, and bills. Right on? They beat you on your back by making you compete with people who it is that you're supposed to protect and supposed to be providers for. Yet they'll put those people in a financially dominant position than you. Once again, these things cause turmoil. Nobody even understands, you know, how deep this shit really goes. Like the whole system, the whole cycle, all of it, and to how they pulled it off. You know, they didn't pull this off by accident. It's not a fluke or by chance, you know what I mean, that all of it went down the way that it went down. You know, it's just not. Folks have to really realize that we're in a land. We're in a land where we're stuck like Chuck, you know, and the best thing we can do is not just separate ourselves from people, but try to identify these people, you know, before. You won't have to separate yourself from somebody that you never attached to, that you never become connected to. You follow what I'm saying? So what I'm saying to you right now is that be wise of who it is that you choose as allies. You know, anybody can turn on you. Anybody has the ability to do you wrong. But if people are living in what they call these black communities, they're going to get screwed over by them first. And more than likely, if it's not their family, it's somebody that they know, that they grew up with. But here comes the cold ice for that hot cola. Just like I said that I have aunties and uncles that I'm related to, right? That I'm a quarter related to or whatever. And we're not the same people in so many different ways. I look different than them. You get what I'm saying? We look similar, but we look different. So it's like, how many of these people do you think are getting screwed over and shafted, killed, raped, molested, all that by people who aren't even genetically their own people? Right. But because they go along to get along, they can't even realize that this is a possibility. They have no ability to actually see it. You know, those that retreated earlier from the conversation, you know, were either people who their bedtime is up because they got to go to work tomorrow. Some people do work tomorrow. I do. I know most people are off, but if you work, seasonal stuff like I work, or you do the kind of work that I do, or anything like it, or similar to, then you may have to work. But I would assume that most of them just couldn't take the sharp daggers. And these are people who have capitulated to living a certain way in Babylon. They have acquiesced to their enemies and said, I will shave my face and cut my hair. Yea, I will do these things gladly. And look at the other men who are black like they are beneath me because they don't. But no one thinks it's childish for a man that's 50 to shave his face. No one thinks that looks absurd or ridiculous. No, once again, and then no one thinks it's more absurd or ridiculous that there's men who they lack these features and are once again coddled into the hands and in the arms of the people who have these features and are told, surely we are all the same all the way. So it's like, why is there such a confusion? If the Perizzites and the Jebusites and all these people were different in the Bible, hell, if just today, if we just go based on today, if Gambians and Sudanese don't look alike, why do I have to? And they're not the same people. They will tell you they are not the same. Fast, quick, fast, in a hurry. So, of all the hundreds of, different little ethnicities over there, there's so many different little groups that just look. I mean, the diversity is so crazy in Africa. It's stupid, dumb, crazy. Just like you said, sister, they look naked without facial hair, right? Right. But but they don't grow. But some of these people just don't grow it like that. Some of them just don't grow it. And then the ones who are shaving their faces, right? They be looking weird, looking like 50-year-old babies and shit. And it's just like, it ain't cool. And it's one thing to look young and to look youthful. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on people who are older who look youthful. Please. My mom is what? 53? Yeah. Yeah. My mom is 53. And she looked younger than a lot of people. My mom looked like somebody in her 30s. Easily looked like somebody in her 30s. My mom looked super young, you know. I'm sure if I sat her down next to me, somebody might even think that she was my sister. My mom looks pretty young for her age, So I always think it's funny that that people think I'm trying to like throw jabs at like, good looks or something like that, or like youthfulness. No, I'm just throwing jabs at what is a direct contradiction to what would be the laws of Moses. And people who claim, once again, with pork fat on their breath, will tell you about how much they love the Most High. What up, Martin? How you doing, young man? But it's just one of those things where they will tell you about how much they love the Most High, how much they're on his team. But right before they eat pork chops smothered in gravy, you know what I mean? They make supplication to the Most High for the swine they're about to eat and ask him to bless it. But they think I'm sick, or they think there's something wrong with me, right? They think I'm stupid. So once again, while you're still here in Babylon, just realize that you are amongst people who have no idea what is going on. None. You know, I meet people all the time who I'll be at the hot dog stand whenever I'm out there. Obviously, I haven't been out on a weekend in a minute, but working these games and stuff, trying to get the rest of my little money together for the rest of this year for rent and worry about just opening up the stand. But anyway, you deal with these people who they want to come all types of incorrect and all types of foul. Like what they're doing is wrong. Like like I want y'all to really understand that for a moment. It's one thing to ask the Most High to forgive you because you know what you're about to eat is unclean, right? And you fast the next day, knowingly fast, because you know that you ate something unclean. And then why swine's flesh? Why not eat catfish, or why not eat something else that's unclean? Why you gotta go? Why go there? So it's like, uh, I just think it's weird that people don't even have the mind once again to even be righteous on any level while they do these types of things. The least they could do is tell the Most High that they're sorry, right? Or that they apologize and make duly note in their mind that as soon as I eat this, I need to get ready to fast. No, but what do? They eat the swine chops with gravy and their cream corn and their biscuit, right? And they drink their little glass of apple juice or grape Kool-Aid or whatever, or Coca-Cola, whatever the hell it is that they drink, right? And they go and they sit down and they lounge on their couch and then they watch some heathen sitcom where they wish that they was that white man with all that money and that white family with that pretty white woman as his wife, and they daydream in their mind while they sit next to their own family. Wow, once again, these abominations. So this is why I'm so crucial about the stuff. Like you guys just once again, I'm just sharpening the sword for what's to come. You know, uh, these folks really don't respect anything that we do. They don't respect us. We're dealing with people who look like us, who look like the Israelites back in the day, who didn't respect the Israelites. Hell, they made it a point to mock the Israelites. You had other people who were distant cousins, some not so distant cousins of the Israelites. Once again, they made it a point to mock these people when they were under their thumb. These are things that folks have to understand. Okay? They don't have to agree. They have to understand. They have to understand that they are dealing with their sworn enemies almost day in and day out. So if you ever wondered why school was so hard, or why certain environments that you've been in, or if you go to them while they're so rough and you're like, damn, I'm black, man, I shouldn't should these brothers or these sisters shouldn't be treating me like this. It's because they're probably not brothers and sisters. It's probably because they're not your people and they don't give no damn about you. That I guarantee it, you know. And folks don't want to hear that it's kind of that simple. It's not just it's not just that case. Sometimes we're dealing with people that are actually our own kinfolk. But if we're talking about just the skin folk, as these guys like to say out here, right? Then the skin folk, that don't matter. Skin folk is nothing. You feel me? I mean, because I'm not, I'm not two-tone black. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not super duper light skinned. So, um, if we're talking about skin folk, I would have to only go with people who are closer to my skin hue. But then even all of them don't look alike because they would have to have all this. So once again, we're talking about real kinfolk, man. Once again, they can't just look like you. They have to feel like you, have to think like you. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's the truth. You know, I remember when I was 18 years old, fresh 18. I had just started to grow in this little chin strap, right? Little baby little chin strap. I was like, yeah, you know, I was amped. But I had never put a razor on my face, you know, like not seriously. And so I go to boot camp 6 or 7 months later, and they're making a shave, right? And I'm shaving for the first time in my life, you know. And this shit is crazy, man, because I get all bumpy gum. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, what the fuck is going on with my face? Because I'm at boot camp with other dudes, black dudes, supposed black people. You know what I mean? And and you know, shit, they don't have to, they didn't have to shave. But the ones who did, you know, like they got a couple of little bumps. But I'm talking about I was like, there was only certain brothers who got bumpy gump like this. I mean, it was bad, y'all. Like razor bumps are an infection. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? It's an infection. It's a bacterial infection. You know, and I, man, that shit was so painful. 1 second, man. What up, Steve? Bro, I totally apologize, bro, for not calling you, bro. My bad, family. But I will hit you up tomorrow, man. Possibly, you know, when I get done doing this or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You get off work, you can touch bases, bro, and we'll chop it up. But no, I was, man, y'all, when I say I was hurt, my face was hurt. And I just remember not knowing why. I didn't know I grew facial hair. I didn't know. Like, you guys understand, like at 18, as smart as I was at 18, I had no concept that razor bumps were only because it produced facial hair. Had none. When I say I had never shaved before, I had never shaved before like that. You know, and shaving with a razor, that shit hurts. You know, that's another reason I don't shave, because I'm like, do people not know how painful that stuff is? You know, it's excruciatingly painful. No, not doing that. So I just think it's weird that for years and years and years and years and years, I probably could have shaved in high school and probably grew a beard and manifested one, but I never did. Then after high school, we're talking, you know, I'm still 18. You know, I shaved my face one time, and then like I'm talking about like one time, y'all, it took me to shave, and that was it. Face fully infested with nastiness. And I never knew. And I didn't know until I had got home, and my older brother was like, "Oh man, you need to stop shaving and let your beard grow in." And I was like, "I don't grow no beard." You know, and this dude was like, "That's why you have razor bumps, dude. You have razor bumps because you grow a beard." And I was like, "No, that's not why I have razor bumps." I was like, "I have razor bumps because I shave." He said, "No, man, you grow a beard, little bro. I'm telling you." So to let my face heal, my face was so bad. You guys don't even know, like my face was horrible. My face is taking years and years and years, you know, for it to oh no, yeah, hey, look, man. If you got all that peach fuzz and shit on your face, if you don't want to be growing a beard just yet, dog, don't shave. Because what's gonna happen more than likely, if all that stuff is like ready to come, you put the razor down, dog. It all won't come all right at once, but it'll just, bro. The formation of the beard will like come, dude. You know what I mean? And then it's over. You know, it'll fill in as you get older. You know, but nah, I didn't know. You know, and I didn't know, and it's just one of those things where genetically, yeah, I would have eventually manifested a beard in my life, but it's just one of those things where at boot camp, I wonder why didn't these other guys get fucking razor bumps and why don't they have to shave? You know, but once again, at 18, no concept of different kinds of black people, no kind of concept of we're all really not the same. I just had no concept of that. So, once again, if you're not aware of something, You know, you're not gonna you're not gonna ever look at it on that type of level, you know. Yeah, bro. Well, I mean, that's the thing, bro. Um, for everybody is different. You know what I mean? Some of those dudes start manifesting beards and shit when they're like 14 and 15, but I would assume a lot of them put razors on their face. You understand what I'm talking about? Their dad was like, let me teach you how to shave, son, you know. And before he knew it, little dude was growing in a full blown beard. Because there was dudes when I was 15 and 16, they were 15 and 16. I mean, with full blown all that, looking grown as hell. Niggas looking 30, and they're 15. So and back then, like when you're a kid, like when you're 15, 16, well, that was like 12 years ago for me. So that's different, like back then it was different. Like, like if you had a little beard or something like that, like you're laughing, Tammy. I don't know what's so funny, sister. This is real. Like, like you was in the game. You feel me? When I was in high school, you was in the game if you was already bearded up and all that. No, look, anyway, we're not even gonna go there, right on. We're not even gonna go to the vain parts of my mind. Because there is vanity within Demetrius. There is vanity within this man. But we're not talking about that right now. 15 looking like 30. Here you go. Right. Right. That's how cats used to get the liquor, all that, everything. But anyway, we're not going, we ain't going to caveat into all that. We just going to keep it where we're at. People can't realize that we're all not the same because we're told that we're all the same. We're told we're all the same black people. That is a dangerous notion. That's one of the notions is why we're stuck, because we don't have the ability to separate ourselves from other people who look similar to us but are not us. Because if we had the confidence to do that, then the creativity, then the love, the peace, then the anger, the hatred, all that stuff could be worked out amongst ourselves the way it's supposed to be. You know, black people have never had time to work out the grievances amongst themselves. I'm sure there were many grievances that slaves needed to fix before they went out there into the world being free people. But it's easy to laugh now, Stephen, to say that like you can't believe you went for that. But it's for me, I think I was more hurt to find out that we all weren't the same. I think that probably hurt me more than anything. I think I was more hurt to really start to understand what the Bible was saying. That hurt me to really gather understanding and not just to be reading the Bible uh 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 um kind of like with beer goggles on, you know what I mean? Like now when I read, it's like I'm not gonna say I discern everything perfectly, but I pretty much understand what I'm reading. So for a long time, reading a word like the parasites and the Gergeshites, you know what I mean, and the Evites and the Ardukites, I would never think of something like genetics, genealogy, and a geneticist. I would never think to tie, modern understanding of what we've been shown today into a book of ancient times, and how the books of ancient times is speaking on these things of modern day. I once again, the discernment came from being willing to just accept, you know, damn it, so like for a long time, when I was, so about 3 years ago, when I first really came back into all this stuff, I've been back into the Bible for about 4 years, a little over 4 years, but I've been I've been doing this YouTube thing for almost three, and I've been watching YouTube, been watching guys on YouTube for well over 3 years, going on 4 years. So one of the things with me is that I didn't know what to believe. You know, I went through all the doctrines. You know, like this is why I'm here where I'm at. This is why I can speak to you guys so confidently about this. You know, I read the When the Rocks Cry Out by Horace Butler years ago. I read that back in 2013. That's 5 years ago. So I was 22 when I read that. You know, I read that kind of stuff. You know, I took on that whole. I imbued all that. You know, believed it all, ate it all up. You know, I went through the whole Professor Yakub nonsense. Um, um, I have my stint studying, you know, Hinduism and Buddhism. Never practicing any of it, but you know, studying um, Taoism, and you know, learning about Laozi and how you could incorporate Laozi to being more than one per. It's a bunch of different people over, you know, different lifetimes. However, all these different things, you know, uh, I went through all that, and going through all that, I learned how to cope. You know, people people don't realize I cope with the truth by being able to see, like, okay, well, the man that wrote this book, When the Rocks Cry Out, Horace Butler, he didn't really give much chagrin to understanding the difference of phenotype. He called all the black people Africans and this and that and this and that. And it's like, well, that's really not fair when you consider that why do some of these Africans, so-called Africans, not look the same? Why are these people, why don't they look similar? And this is a crucial thing, you know. Um, I can't stress to you guys enough. Being in this land has made me, and seeing how they live in other lands, let me go ahead and put that thought in there. But being in this land has made me, like, I'm not gonna say overly willing for something to happen, you know, but it has brothers and sisters who think very similar on standby. You know, like we're just kind of just waiting because, you know, there's no way that I want a place, an evil, wicked place like this to last forever. You know, um, I just don't. You know, people are like, oh, you wouldn't fight if people invaded the country and this that. No, I wouldn't do shit. I wouldn't do a fucking thing. I would just stand here. I'm not doing that. It's got nothing to do with me. Nothing. All those people coming here for blood owed to them, relatives of the past. That's got nothing to do with me. I'm standing right off to the side. Whatever the broad walls of Babylon come down and are broken, right on, and her high gates are burned with fire, I'm not going to be one of the people who toil in vain. I'm not going to be one of the people who toil in the fire. I refuse. On that day when all these people from all these nations besiege this place, like it's written, I'm not doing shit. I'm standing by. I'm not doing nothing. And any one of these suckers who want to tell you you need to fight and die for this shit, they're not your people. I don't care if they birthed you out of their vagina, if you came out of their scrotum, they're not your people. That is not, no, no. That's a wicked thought. You're gonna die for a country that has ever shown you nothing but disdain and hatred, dog. After 400 years, you still only got less than 1% of equity in this bitch, and you talking about fighting and die for this motherfucker while you're still here. Stay alive. Can you dig it? While you're still stuck like Chuck in Babylon, stay alive, because they don't know nothing else. They don't know nothing. They're telling us. They're telling us. Uh, uh, they're gonna do this 5G nonsense and shit like that, dude. Witchcraft and sorceries out of this world. We're about to get ready to see. My brothers and my sisters, you need to get ready to see this stuff. You need to prepare your hearts and your souls because they're going to start to push the envelope completely. You know, what happens when they start making advances technologically in the name of science that the government or whoever doesn't have the backbone to stand up against because this is really their plan in the first place. This is what they wanted to happen, you know. So because we end up in these situations that people really don't like to tell us what it is that we're about to be facing. We're about to be facing some wickedness, you know. These rules and these laws that they're making, y'all, like I can't stress to you guys enough. Don't worry. After court on Thursday, I'm doing a little thing. I'm gonna let you guys know how me filing my motion to dismiss goes. And I'm gonna be doing a little small thing about, fighting legal cases here in Babylon, criminal and civil. Since I'm fighting that little bullshit criminal case right now too, I might as well go ahead and cover that. And I just want y'all to just really see, to really understand uh, what we're up against. You know, I'm not the smartest dude. I'm not even going to get close to saying I'm anything like that. But I'm well read enough to articulate myself that when I go places like the courtroom, I know what to say. I know what information that I need to be privy to, and I know how to say things that are once again germane to the court. You know, it, that it's not a skill to know what you need to know. It's a skill to say it in a way that's going to be effective. You know, you always paint a picture for them. I can't stress it enough, y'all. Paint the picture. All right, because I'm trying to paint the picture for y'all right now. Who's gonna stop um this this movement for 5G? Who's to say that 5G isn't what's needed for some super inventor that the world has been waiting for to come forward and be like, aha, I figured something out using this 5G stuff that we could have never figured out using 4G. When 5G does drop, just know that they'll have taken an unknowable amount of people off the streets, did tests on them in hospital with pacemakers, hearing aids, all kinds of medical electronic aid, and tested this shit to the fullest on these people. Believe that. But when I say believe that, they tested it to the fullest. And the reason why they did that was so that way, if any kinks or malfunctions are to arise, they can address those at the most micro level, right? And then try to work it out to where they could imagine what would happen on a macro level and then subsidize that effort as well. Now, you're still going to have casualties, so to speak, in the sense of figuring out the essence of what 5G truly is. But we should know that this is more than likely, they've rifted some, I'm sure they've done some type of tiny rift for this 5G stuff. I'm quite sure. I'm quite positive that 5G is like some sort of rift. Um, I can't prove it yet. Everything is frequency based, y'all. You guys have to understand. We can't see it. You can't see 5G, dog. You can't see 4G or 3G or 2G or none of that. You can't see H plus. You can't see any of it. You can't see it. You can, I guess, you can sense it or feel it in a certain aspect, but you can't hear it. You don't hear 5G, so you don't hear 4G. It's out of our spectra. Okay, it's out of our frequency and our broadband to pick up and to sense. but they could easily be causing a rift somewhere. You know, whether it's interdimensional, dimensional, I couldn't say. Um, I keep trying to tell y'all, they're trying to do some crazy stuff with the synthetic biology. They're trying to bring back Amun Ra or Emotep or somebody like that. They're gonna fuck up, and then they're gonna have to do something more desperate and more drastic. You know, you don't get an antichrist that's killed by some supposed stranger. The whole world being overran by forces that are some that have been subterranean and some that are totally alien to the planet. You don't get to that conclusion by thinking that here in Babylon or whoever it is that you're going to be looking at in that position, that everything is just honky dory. So what that people capitulate to what one man says? It doesn't make it peaceful. You understand? It doesn't mean that there's going to be peace in those days. It doesn't mean there's going to be tranquility in those days. All right? To tell us that the so-called Antichrist thing has no interest in women, right? So we're looking for a homosexual. Right. Bam. Can you dig it? See what I'm saying? So we're looking for a gay dude, a smart gay dude who's an inventor of some sort, who's not exactly human. So whenever they manifest themselves, if they already haven't, and we're looking at them and we just don't know, you know, Elon Musk or somebody like that, we'll find out. Don't worry, we're gonna find out. We will find out here in the coming future. They can't keep hiding because the closer the world gets to this climactic stage where we're almost at the crescendo, y'all. We're really there. We're almost at this crescendo. The stuff that's going on in the Middle East, Yemen will probably be the place that it takes off in. I'm quite sure. Not 100% positive, but I'm about 80% positive that Yemen will be the beginning battleground for what is to come to be something extraordinarily amazing in the Middle East. What we think of in the Middle East, it is going to be, it is going to be extraordinarily amazing what takes place there. The Yemenis, there's a lot of black-skinned Yemenis people there. You know, this is why the situation in Yemen is quite often overlooked because out of all the Middle Eastern countries, you can easily say it's the blackest. You know, it has a higher population of poor black people than Iraq does for sure. You know, and the humanitarian situation within Yemen has been, you know, abysmal for forever. So there is no humanitarian situation in Yemen. You know, that airstrike that the Saudis did on that bus last month, they're just now calling it a fucking act of war. Just now. Right on. It's a war crime, which is an act of war. However, it's called a war crime today. And and I just think it's amazing that no one sees what's happening. That's going to be the battleground. That's going to be where they kick off a lot of the bad stuff. And while we're over here in this Babylon, that Babylon that's over there, gonna get wrecked. Oh my goodness, gonna get wrecked. See, I want y'all to think about this. The Babylon that gets smashed on by everybody in the Bible is surrounded by water. Yemen, nor Iraq, nor Afghanistan, none of those places are surrounded by water. But you look at the United States, no matter what you want to say, what is it surrounded by? That's right, water. So don't worry. Me saying that what is ever going to go down over there in Yemen, that's just Yemen. Don't worry about that. That's got nothing to do with you here. The emotep thing that they're gonna create, I don't know where. I couldn't tell you what continent that's gonna be on. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But they're gonna try to create their own thing. What do you think they've been trying to get ready for? They're getting ready to fight the Most High. They're gearing up for it. Like when you guys read the scripture, when it says that the Most High will come back with his thousands of saints and execute judgment, right on. Who do you think they're getting? Well, first off, if the Most High is already not here on Earth, well, where's he coming from? Right? Out, what they call outer space. He's coming from not on the planet. So they've been gearing people up, getting people ready to fight what? The Most High and what? His thousands of saints. With who? Their version of what they believe are gods. Who's going to smash on them first? Monster armies that are still living on this fucking planet right now to this day. The monster armies are going to fight each other, and then what's left of those remnants are going to get smashed on by the saints of the Most High. Really an ingenious plan. So that way the ranks of the Most High sustain the least amount of casualties, the least amount of losses. Only logical. However, while you were still stuck here, it would behoove you. It would be so circumspect, and your discernment would be of the highest level to look at the people that you're dealing with, whether it be somebody that you've been dealing with for years or somebody that you just started dealing with today or you start dealing with tomorrow. However, you need to look at these people and understand what their agenda is. If they have one that even matches yours, I can't stress it enough. People who don't think like you, don't act like you, don't feel like you are a threat to you. They are a direct danger to your health and your well-being. There's no other way to it. They cannot be seen as an ally and someone who cannot be helpful. There's no such thing as an unhelpful ally. That's a liability, is what they are. Okay? And you don't need to be giving your time, your essence, your energy to people that are liabilities to you and to your health and well-being. It is inconceivable. Entirely unbelievable. Black people, because I know that's who's listening to me. Black people, be wise, because that's all that you can do to keep yourself out of a situation that brings you harm or brings somebody that you care about harm. And Yah forbid that you do something like that because you feel that this person is going to help you get a better job, but all they're trying to do is see how they can get you to sell out. I give you a prime example. You might get an employer who you think because like you, they're a woman, or like you, they're a man, and they're black, or they're what, right? They're a black person who's around my age or whatever, right? Now, you tell them your situation. I have a family. I'm going through this. I'm going through that. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. The first thing they hear is, of all the things that you just said to them, is I need to derail this person. That's what they're saying to them. I need to slow them down, right? Because at the age that they're at, that you're at, they're no longer thinking like that. They don't have the capacity of the mind to think like this. So because they can't admire you, right, for still having the ire and the ability to fight and the ability to want to strive for things better, for whatever you think that is, they now feel that, oh, this person doesn't think that where I'm at is the crescendo. They don't think that this is the top level. They don't think that this is the climax of life. Bullshit. So what do they do to you then? They try to find ways where in which if they can't actually harm you, right? They try to find ways to manipulate you. You know, manipulate you away from your family and things like that, or people that who need you, you know, who might be close family associates. I'll give you a prime example. When I was working at this little weed store years ago, right, and I was a bud tender, This dude just kept trying to get me to do music with him so freaking bad. He was like, man, you just need to come to California, record this record with me, la 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 la, talking all this stuff. And I'm like, no, bro, I'm cool, you know, because the guy's nephew so badly wanted to be a rapper, you know, and dude had like real legitimate connects and this, that, and the other. And he was just like, man, you know, I think you could do something. And I never really did nothing special. So I just always thought it was weird that like this dude was trying so hard to get me to do something like that. Right. And this was before, you know, I was hip to nonsense like blood sacrificing people and shit like that, you know, at least on the level where they do in the rap. Yeah, it just wasn't something that I knew about, you know. And it wasn't something that I cared about. I mean, I heard about it, but I just didn't. It didn't register to me like, you know, this dude might have been trying to be on something nefarious. Because I was never like that. And he used to always tell me like, man, I don't know why, you know, but he used to be like, man, you know, like it's admirable, but really he didn't admire it. Really, he hated it. You see what I'm saying? You know, and when people can't get at you, they'll get at somebody else. You get what I mean? They'll do something to you through somebody else because they feel like this is the only way to get at you. You know, this is why I always try to tell people, you know, like I personally, I don't like women working in places where they work all by themselves with men. Right on. If they're in a relationship, I personally think that's bullshit. You know, sure, fidelity and all that stuff. You're supposed to trust this person, this, that, and the other. But it's like, look, nothing can happen if you're just not around this person. It just can't happen. It won't happen. You follow me? There's no need to apologize, to be sorry, to feel ashamed. Nothing. It can't happen if that's not the case. But we live in a society here in fucking Babylon, only place where they'll tell you to let your woman work all by herself, unsupervised, with men. Right on, men who have the ability to take her earning power from her. Right. So they could get her to capitulate to bullshit that she would never do. And it doesn't have to be anything sexual. Once again, there are actions that a person can commit against you. Right on. There's things that they can say about you that are just as bad as them sleeping around. A traitor is a traitor is a traitor. So this is why when I speak about, you know, being aware of things, just be aware that the environment is built for wickedness. That's a wicked instrument. And then once again, because we're around people who want us to sell out, the first thing they'll tell you is, oh, they're just insecure. So after something stupid happens, are they still insecure? And then the person who does the shit, they just made a mistake. Once again, you've placated them on the highest level for the worst of things. Yet there's something wrong with my mentality. There's something wrong with how I think. People, once again, have bumped their heads. While we're still here, everyone should be circumspect to how this shit works. Everyone should be like, you know what, brother? I don't agree with everything that you're saying. That's fine. But what you are saying does make sense because I can apply this to it. I can apply this to my life. What I can't apply, I don't agree with. Or what I don't agree with is things that they don't apply to me. That's fine. Or the sisters who were thinking the same way. That's fine. It doesn't have to apply to you on every single level. You know, it doesn't have to apply. But what does apply are the things that you know are true and real. How many of these old ass actors are out here with women that are young enough to be their daughters? You know, people are like, once again, they can say this has been going on for thousands of years. Look, if a regular dude in a regular community was dating somebody's daughter, she's like 20 years younger, that kind of shit breaks up families. I've seen it happen. I have seen it happen. I have seen young ladies go and get with the older man, right on, or young dudes go get with the like a much older woman, and it breaks families up. It causes a lot of friction. Because at first, maybe people are willing to be like, okay, let's see what happens. But for most fathers and most mothers, they can't stand the thought of someone their age laying with their child. They're like, get the fuck out of here, you know? So this is why, once again, we have these situations that come about, you know? They come about because folks don't respect nothing, and they'll never respect anything. They don't have a reason to, you know? The sanctity of a man and woman's relationship is no longer respected by almost anybody. These people in this land are so opportunistic that I'll tell you where I see most debauchery take place is at. Though people think going to the club is where most men and women cheat on each other, sporting events is where it takes place probably the most. I've seen more people where you can tell you went inside of there and you flirted with somebody or you got caught doing some shit you weren't supposed to be doing. You follow what I'm saying? There's more people who hand out numbers, emails, Instagrams, Facebooks, all that stuff at those kinds of places than anywhere else. I watch it happen all the time. And this is where the debauchery happens. This is where the fall off happens with these people, you know, because there's thousands of people in one area, you know. You get to walk off, honey, I'm gonna go and get the garlic fries and the sodas. You go and go get the and while you're off to go get the garlic fries and the sodas, the chick in front of you or whatever, you know, turns around. She happens to be attractive. Hers, as ignoring this chick or just saying hello and moving on. Full-blown conversation starts. Now this dude is really thinking about, this dude is contemplating, you know what I'm saying, having an affair with this woman. And this woman could be married herself or in a situation. Once again, I feel like people who are having sex and live together are married. I laugh when people think that you need to put a ring on somebody's finger to be married. You know. Oh yeah, it's dangerous to get involved with anybody. I mean, but if you're already involved with someone and they've been involved for years, why would you risk, you know, your healthy relationship for a complete stranger? You know, like you met them on a whim, you know. And the reason why I say these things happen more at a place like this than at a club, because there's people who go to clubs quite often. I know people who go to clubs almost every weekend, or you know, at least a couple weekends out of the month they go clubbing. I wouldn't either, sister. I hear you, but there's people who think like this, and infidelity runs high in the Black community. You know, once again, it's touchy subjects, touchy, but it's just one of those things. People put themselves in bad positions. You know, Black men and Black women have been known for putting themselves in bad positions, you know, shitty ones. One of the worst positions that Black people put themselves in now, they'll go somewhere surrounded almost by, I mean, completely by everybody else who's not Black. And I'll be more specific. They'll go somewhere where they're almost surrounded by exclusively only white people, right? Exclusively only white people. And they'll be like, bro, I'm going, nigga. Shit, I don't got nothing to worry about, man. That was 100 years ago. That was 50 years ago. Motherfuckers ain't like that no more. And it's like, these are the same dudes that we hear about, right? Like the brother who went out, this was last year. Brother got murdered with these 3 white boys he went out on a fishing trip or a hunting trip with. They killed him. They murdered him. You know what I'm saying? Because he believed in his mind, oh yeah, these white guys would never do that to me. Shit, we're buddies. We're pals. Right? But he found out the hard way. He paid the ultimate motherfucking price. to find out that, yo, bro, not only did these dudes never like you, but they've been planning to do this to you probably since they first met you. Let's get this dude on our good side so much that when we finally do betray him, he'll be more hurt than angry. So he won't even fight back more than likely. He'll just die because he'll be like, why? Why? He's not going to fight back because he's going to be so hurt, gentlemen. See, this is what they do to the black man and the black woman. This is what they do to the black women, too, the black chicks, too. I know a woman right now, homeless in Seattle, in her 50s. She has 2 living children, but she had 3 children. Her eldest son got killed. Her middle child, who's her daughter, right on, doesn't really deal with her like that. And her youngest child, who's the son of an Asian man, right? She hasn't seen a little boy since he was probably a baby. Now, my point is this right here is that the Asian dude got her hooked to drugs. The Asian boy, the one who got her on drugs. But the Asian boy got custody of the baby. Now, what's amazing is that I know a bunch of different stories like this, where the daddy's white or Hispanic or Islander, right on? Every once in a while, it's one of these loose hair Africans, but normally they're Mexican or they're white, right on? Almost every time they're a Mexican or a white person. You feel me? They then got the black chick pregnant, took the baby from her, and she out there wandering the streets. I know a really attractive young black lady. Let the little punk ass white boy give her a baby. She tries so hard to talk to me. When I tell you guys, we have nothing to talk. I have no words for her. I have no words for her. You feel me? You let this punk ass white boy give you a kid, go be with a white person. It's just that simple to me. I don't want you, your baby. I don't want to deal with you. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? You can be, but once again, as fine as she is, we got nothing to talk about. And people can't understand that this is the mentality that you have to have, because their mentality was they gave up and that they gave in, right on? Or their mentality was, you can't tell me who to love. You can't tell me who I love. While now they hate this motherfucker and the baby. And they can't tell me that these black chicks don't hate the baby and this dude, because they hate the black men. Black women hate black men. There's no way she doesn't hate this Asian dude. Once again, these black chicks get with a white dude just to start hating white dudes. I've seen it happen so many times. I see white dudes walking. This is my favorite thing. When mixed couples walk up in Babylon, while you're still here, remember this, because the shame-faced tactics are always the same. When somebody's ashamed of who they're with, this is the first thing that they'll do. They try to avoid you, okay? The first move for you. They're not disrespecting you, okay? They're ashamed of themselves. And because I live in Washington, there's so many white people out here, right? There's black people, but there's a bunch of white people. So a black girl with a white boy, or anybody who's not black, she doesn't have to see that many black people all the time. She can go to a city where there's almost no black people. So when she does see black people, she's like, oh, fuck. I forgot we lived here too. I forgot there was other black people other than me. And now they get to see her decision. So this is who you choose as your mate, huh? As your lifetime partner. This is who you choose, him over all the capable brothers. Once again. And this will be a fine sister, beautiful sister. And I always figure that she's been touched or molested by somebody in her family, you know. So she doesn't trust black men, whatever. That's just normal. That's normally the story that you're gonna get. You know, she's been molested. She's been touched by somebody in her family. And I can't verify the claims, so I won't deny them. And so, you know, that's another thing that you have to look at and be worried about. And these chicks are sitting here romping around with these dudes who are not their people. And then now let me talk about the fellas who do this shit. They have the same shame-faced look. Like, I heard a dude say to me the other day, because his grandson is pretty much a white person, because his son is mixed. It's a light-skinned dude, right? He got upset one time. Now, we don't talk about the babies no more, because he got in his feelings one day when I was like, no mixed person is black. He's like, oh, my son is black like me. You know, he's light-skinned and nappy. And I'm like, thinking in my head, like, if this dude's mom is white, I mean, I've met mixed people with pretty coarse looking hair, but even then, you look at it, it's still not nigga hair. You can tell the difference. So it's like, if your son's hair was as coarse as it could be, he still looks mixed. You're like, this dude is like high yellow. Like, this dude is my dad's complexion. My dad is high yellow. This dude is my dad's color. You feel me? I'm like, so there's no way this guy had a child with a white woman and the child doesn't look white. You're talking about my son is yellow. Like, it's like the dude is white, bruh. You know? And his son has children with a white, he has children with a white woman. And I seen a black dude walking down the street. Now, this is a brother walking down the street with a little white baby holding his hand. And I knew it was his grandson, right? Because I could see like the little curl in his head, right? Just like but I'm like, see, your son is mixed. And he went and got with a white woman. And it's like, now look at you. You're holding a hand to a baby who don't even look nothing like you. You it looks sick, is what it looks. It looks sick. It looks sick to me. It's like, it would be like animals interbreeding, and then you see like a walrus holding the hand to like a lion. You know what I mean? It's like, what? What the hell is that baby walrus holding that big ass lion's hand for? Doesn't he know the lion gonna eat his little ass up? You follow what I'm saying? It's like that. It just doesn't look right. So while you're still here in Babylon, you don't have to judge your brothers and sisters, but just be aware that their bad decisions, they may try to make you pay for them too. You follow me? They may try to make you pay for them too. You know, Martin, I'm dead at, bro. When I say I'm dead ass serious right now, Cuddy, I'm so serious. I'm hella serious, you know, because a lot of the time we go through these functions and these formalities where people will forget, bro. We're in a land, dog, that we wouldn't be here if we weren't brought here. And then how different would we be? You feel me? You know, people talk about race is a concept that white people invented. If that be the case, let's just say that it is. Let's argue that white people invented race. They didn't invent tribes. Tribes were still real. If you're telling me that tribes that were diametrically opposed in the way that they operated would have made children with each other, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. The Israelites came out of Egypt, which is a Hamitic culture, a Kemetic culture. When they went into the land of Canaan, that was another Hamitic culture, Kemetic culture, one that similar to the Egyptians, one that was similar to the Cushites, one that was similar to the Nubians. Right on. So there were certain formalities that the Israelite people were already used to and already accustomed to. There were certain formalities of worship, deity worship, that it was easy for them to surrender to, because once again, these were things that they had already been introduced to in the land of Egypt. So when we have what it is amongst us, people who are willing to give in to what you think are wicked devices, you must understand, number one, these people are being who they are. They come from, more than likely, people who gave into such devices of like in the past. So when we have people who have bred out so strongly and so hard, right, that they have grandchildren that look white, and then we wonder why oh, damn, are all these white boys, once again, how many of these white guys are you looking at who are so-called white boys, who you're looking at are what black women are truly white? Right on. And then once again, when we flip the script on that, where you have white people who have bred their way into black skin, so they purposely had children with the black slave woman, put the children back out there on the field. Those children had children with the slaves, and it's been like that for a long time now. But if we go back 5 or 6 generations, these are white people. Right. It's so hard for people to understand that. It's so hard for people to really get that. The structure of genealogy, even though they have whatever dominant genetics now, they still ultimately seed from this. So this is why her as a black woman, right? Him as a black man, they might be attuned to being with people that are Anglo. because they, in fact, are truly an Anglo person in disguise. They are white and black skin. And some of these other people are black and white skin. And there's a bunch of different combinations, but that would be the most common combination, the most common and likely of occurrences on this landmass. Because people forget that it takes 2 generations and your bloodline is washed out pretty much. They don't know what they would never know. They would never know. So this is why we have all these people who, like, all my first cousins are black people. I don't think I have any, I can't think of any of my first cousins that are like mixed or anything like that. All of them are black. Most of my second cousins are full black. Only a few of my second cousins are mixed. I got a bunch of third cousins and fourth cousins, right on, who are mixed. But most of them are first generation mixed, though. You know, they just got there like that. So how the world would turn out for them, depending on, you know, what is left of the planet, you know, how far we are into our 400-year stay, if we've already overstayed our 400-year stay. You see what I'm saying? These things are important. I couldn't give you an entire blueprint or map to the whole situation in one sitting, but I'm trying to give it to you, a lot of it, just piece by piece, you know, and you'll probably have to go back and like listen to some of this stuff again. But while we're still stuck here, you know what I mean? We have to have the mentality that we're not equals to these people. They're not superior to us, but we are not their equals. Okay? We're not their equals. I seen today, I went to the store, I got some garlic chicken and some JoJo's, and and the white boys out there looking crazy as fuck. I mean, had a beat up, dingy looking white t-shirt on, had some sweatpants on, and was just looking crazy that I don't know what. And I kept saying, and I was talking to Andre as I was going to the store, and I was like, man, if that was me, oh, bro, they've already called the cops on my black ass. And as I walked across the street, the white boy said, because he knew I wasn't lying. He wasn't that crazy, but he was, once again, they be out there acting crazy, but they're not stupid. And he knew what I was saying was true. That's why he said, because he wasn't making no kind of sounds like that before. I was listening to him, I was watching him. You know? And these guys, or once again, I would have, I mean, in a physical bout, I would kill that dude an infinite number of times. But it's like, just because you can physically best somebody, right on, doesn't mean that you can do what they can do. Because he's able to, he can stand in front of that store. White people can go out there, give him money, give him drink, give him cigarettes, all kinds of shit. They can give him whatever they want because he's got the skin, he's got the complexion for protection, as they would say. But me, I got the, because I'm black to them, my ass is going to jail. You standing out here looking crazy, half-ass drooling from the mouth, violently gyrating your body every so often. Oh yeah, call the cops on this nigga right now and get him the fuck out of here. He's making the customers real upset. He's making everybody uncomfortable. But when white people see another white person like that, they're like, oh, poor thing. Poor thing, you poor thing. And it's like, so while you're still here in Babylon, just realize, man, you are not their equals. You are not on equal footing with these devils. Okay? You could never, ever seek to compete with the wickedness of a white man, but nor could he ever seek to compete with your righteousness. It's just, there's no way. There's no way. You're not going to out-devil the devil. You follow what I'm saying? It's impossible. We're going through this trial and tribulation now. where black people are just now starting to see all across the US that they're never going to fix these broken cities. They're just now starting to understand it. They're just now starting to see it. They're not going to fix these broken cities. They have no plan to. Their plan, and once again, people ain't listening to me, is to let the situations to keep getting to where they're getting. I just can't wait for the wrong person to get killed. The ATF person, I guess, because they fucking lived or whatever, you know, that just wasn't enough. And plus, it wasn't in the right community. That was in the Hispanic community. When the black people kill the wrong person, you can believe that it's time. They're not over that one brother who supposedly shot the one commander in Chicago. They're not over that. Don't think that those cops in Chicago have forgot about that for one moment. You see what I'm saying? They're waiting for their get back now. They're waiting for their get back. They're waiting. All these inner city urbanite places that are packed full of black people are, man, they have a rude awakening coming. Once again, who's going to protect us from them? Huh? Who, God damn it? If these motherfuckers decide to flip the script tomorrow, dog, it's over. Motherfuckers are going to be fighting for their lives. Then you will be fleeing from one city to the other. But they need your black ass. They need you more than they need those Mexicans. They need you more than they need those Asians, than those Arabs, than those Islanders. They need you more than they need any one of those dirty ass Africans. They need you a lot more than they need them. And I'm not talking about the Africans that look like niggas. I'm talking about the loose carrot Abdullah ass niggas. The only reason why they have it is because they still need your black ass to do shit. But when they figure out a way, what do you think automation is for? What do you think it's really for? Is to diminish the need for the black man. Then we can just lock their black asses up. We can just get rid of them. We don't need them. The robots will serve us white people. We don't need you niggers now. We don't need no kind of colored people, but we damn sure don't need y'all fucking troublemakers. All this talk about restitution. All this crying in the street because we kill your babies. And we don't give a fuck. Go sit down, black man. Go sit down, black woman. And wait your turn. These people shave their faces and their heads and have the nerve to talk about what another person calls their white mama or white daddy. These people get money every month from the government. SSI, Social Security, whatever, disability, whatever, for all kinds of bona fide reasons. Yeah, have the nerve to say that black women, you know what I mean, leaning on their white daddy, when these men, I guess if it's not their white daddy, their white sugar mama, paying and flipping their bill, footing the bill for them. Fuck out of here. But yet, this is the situation. Because black people aren't going to realize it until it's too late. Why do you think black people won't leave Chicago? Because there's too many dumbass niggas who stay there who think that it's not that bad here. Chicago ain't that bad. But if they left and went somewhere that wasn't all wild like that, they wouldn't want to go back. I know all kinds of dudes like that. I know all kinds of women like that. They were like, I never would have thought I would have left Philly. I never would have thought I was going to leave up out of motherfucking Flint. I never thought I was going to leave East St. Louis. I never thought I was going to get up out of Cahokia, Washington Park. Right on? Come on, man. I just think that when people don't understand that from Omaha, Nebraska to damn Oakland, California to Buffalo, New York to New Jersey, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's like I could just keep naming places. These people don't have the cognitive mind sometimes to realize that if you go somewhere else where black people aren't doing that, you're going to be better off. Let those savages stay where the fuck they're at. Let them kill each other. Let those guys just kill each other. All the good black people just need to leave. All those good, hardworking, honest people who aren't looking for no handout, right on, and they just want what's owed to them, whatever they can get it, but they want what they've worked for sure. Those black people need to get the fuck up and leave. They need to go. Because right now, you got a hodgepodge of people who aren't black, who are calling themselves black in Chicago. There's a bunch of them. A bunch of these loose curly hair, straight haired, super duper light skinned, almost white looking motherfuckers who get to call themselves black who live in Chicago. You know, out there murdering other people's children. You know, and once again, demon seed running around. Just the seed of demons running around. Straight demonic little, oh my goodness. And they give all those hardworking people a bad name. But once again, that's the point. So that way the slaughter's justified. Because we don't know a good Chicagoan from a bad one. Right. We don't know a good person from in Flint, Michigan from a bad one. Right. There are no good niggers. They're all evil. They're all bad. Y'all don't see the whole point of this? Of why they want us all to be the same? Because if we're all the same, then how they treat us is justified. See what I'm saying? I can't stress to y'all enough. We are amongst the worst of the worst. They're so barbaric, so evil, so wicked, and so conniving that they want the black man to get their daughters pregnant. So that way there's a chance of producing a boy. See, they want boys. They don't want the girls. They want little mixed boys, right? Because they feel like physically, they feel like these things can compete with black people. They're the only ones. They're the only ones. And we need an army of those things to fight for us against these black people. People really don't see it because it's failed. It's been a failed mission. They thought they were going to do it when they were making babies with all those black women. Why do you think they call mulattoes effeminate? I can't stress it enough. Because when the daddy's white or not black, normally the child, almost every time, because black dudes make mixed kids who be looking soft sometimes, who look super duper effeminate. You feel me? So white dudes and all these other dudes, when they have children with black women, the babies almost always look, as I say, sickly. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying they almost always look sickly. Yes, thinking they quote unquote. That's right, real niggas. But that's not. But the thing is though, bro, is whether we unquote it or quote it or not, the fact that they get to pull that bullshit. You see what I'm saying? You know, guys like Dak Prescott are what the white men want. But Dak compared to a real brother get thrashed. I mean, there's to me, there's no competition between mixed dudes and black dudes. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Black people are on a whole nother level. You know, mixed dudes are just trying to keep up. They can say whatever they want to about all these whatevers in the NBA or in the NFLs. You know what I'm saying? These are still dudes trying to keep up. You know, the best black quarterback to arguably ever play the game of football is Randall Cunningham. Arguably. Even though Doug Williams is the first one to get a Super Bowl as a black man, right on. Doug Williams he'll tell you that was a bad man. Can you dig it? He said he was more afraid to play against him than anybody. They hated playing against Randall Cunningham. People hated that. People hated playing against that man. Those years he was injured, they loved it. Best black quarterback to ever play in the game of football. Give a fuck what they say. And you talk about the original athletic quarterback who just totally shaped the game. You know, totally shaped the game, totally different. You know, I'm not hating on nobody. You know, I'm not hating on nobody. Dak Prescott get paid. Russell Wilson get paid. J. Cole get paid. Chris Brown get paid. All these dudes that are able to get theirs off of us get theirs. But don't think you're going to get yours off of me, from me. You're going to have to get yours off of your own merit, you know. And to both of my Chicagoans, you know, well, Steve was a native of the South, but my grandpa, he was born in Chicago also. That's where he's from. But, you know, and people get sad, you know, that's why some of the cats who want to come around don't come around, because it's going to come to this. You feel what I'm saying? This conversation has to come out, you know. I don't feel the need to badger you with, you know, telling you once again that sleeping with people who aren't our people is going to produce these kinds of people. I don't see the need in saying that. I just see the need in saying that when you choose these people, if you ever choose those people, don't be looking at me. You know what I mean? Don't be looking at me for pity, and don't be looking at me with that stupid ass look that every one of them has. The brothers and the sisters always have this stupid ass look on their face. You know, the white guys who be with the black chicks, it's like I'll see the black chick, like she'll be trying to like keep walking. He'll pull her back like, no, come on, babe. Like, you know, let's go see your nigger brother over here, you know? You know what I'm saying? Can I get 2 bottles of water, please? And they'll give me a $5 or whatever, and I'll give them their change. And, you know, and the chick will be like, bye. And I won't speak to her. I never speak to her. You chose this punk ass motherfucker over your own people, or over people who look like you. I have nothing to say to you. Nothing to say to you. Nothing. I got nothing to say, dog, other than, you feel me, shrugging my shoulders. You know? Every once in a while, I just suck my teeth whenever people talk to me like that. I just like that. Y'all think I'm joking. I'm dead serious. I don't care. I just don't care. You know, when the brothers come over there and they start acting up for the chicks, because every once in a while the chick will be like, oh, will you please give me extra cream cheese? And I'm like, Miss Lady, I've gave you as much stuff as I can give you. I have to accommodate for other people. Like, brother man will be like, man, quit being skeet, man. You got a pan full of onions, and it's like, I don't have to stop, because I'll be like, in my head, I'm like, this might just be one of those black dudes who's like that, and he might be like this for anybody, whether she was black or whatever. So I'll ignore it normally, but every once in a while they'll get real belligerent for the white chick or the Asian girl. Normally the white girl. When brothers are with an Asian or a Mexican, the Asians and the Mexicans normally know, especially when I start talking about me being black or just blackness. If the blackness comes out, they already know to go ahead and take a back seat. They pretty much get where this is going. Only white people expect for you to just fold for them. Like, you know, like they just expect for you to just fold up like a bitch, you know, and just play their hoe. And I don't understand that. You know what I mean? Like, I never will understand. I won't try to understand it either. But I'm just saying, like, brothers almost normally only do it for the white girls. The only other people niggas get out of pocket with normally are for black chicks. I mean, that's the only race of women I know by default a nigga might get out of pocket. You know, like off tops, you might have to throw fisticuffs with this nigga now. Like, so I already know. But I'm talking about non-black women. You know what I'm saying? Like a chick that's not black, that's not a true nigga woman. Please. Most of the time, they want that chick to just put that on ice. Because when I be places, dudes normally think that their chick is trying to get at me for some odd reason. Like, so some guys will let the female order if she's in charge, like I pay attention to all this. Like I see, like, is this a black dude? Oh wow, you let the white chick tell you what to do. You let the Asian girl tell you what to do. She controls the money and shit. Oh, this weenie ass nigga. You feel me? You know? Or when the black girl is subservient to the white boy or to whatever he is. You know what I'm saying? Man, that shit is so garbage. I'd be like, what are you doing? But once again, I have to remember I'm stuck in a foreign land as a foreigner, abiding by foreign rules. Well, doing my best to abide because everything that they do, I don't agree with, you know. And that shit is complicated because we're always put in these situations, we're always put in a predicament, especially as black men, where they talk all this nonsense about staying on code, right? Am I supposed to stay on code with somebody that I feel isn't on code? Right. What? I'm supposed to be like, oh, how you doing, sister? Though you're fucking and sucking a white dude, fucking and sucking this Mexican or whatever, or getting fucked and sucked by the white or the Mexican. I'm supposed to just be like, oh yeah, you my brother, you my sister. That's right, rock on, solid. I'm supposed to be like that. I'm supposed to be like Roscoe from 1964 with a pick in my hair and shit. No, hell no. Because Roscoe in 1964, if he's seen that shit, he's not going out like that. He's not having it. So don't expect me to do something that a true brother or a true sister would have never been okay with. I've seen all kinds of movies, from Mean Johnny Burrows to The Last Come Down to Three the Hard Way, the original Superfly. I've seen so many blaxploitation movies, and let me tell you something that the older ones always have in common: that even if a brother wasn't with a black woman, his love for sisters was always way stronger. He loved black women way more than the women that he was with. Believes that, okay? He wasn't no damn whatever. And the movies where you watch I can't really think of any old Foxy Brown, Cleopatra type movies where the sister's with the white boy. I can't really think of one. Normally her man or her husband will get killed or something like that. You know what I mean? But even then, she's only for the brothers. So it's like, you have a character in a movie who might have a white man or something like that, and they dish it out to that character. You know what I mean? Like, it was totally different. It was totally different. And black people didn't bite their tongue back then. Once again, folks, listen to me. Oh, for real? Oh, listen to me. Oh, she said, yeah, my uncle, granddaddy, my bad. She said, yeah, holding it down for everybody. What's his character? Who's granddaddy's character? Because now I'm about to go back and watch it. You know me. It's just one of the things I do. No, man, it's a Wally Taylor is his name. Yes, ma'am. Okay, got you. Mr. Taylor. Let me write that down. Because I admire. Once again, I admire. That's why I watch a lot of old school westerns and things like that, because I won't say that they all the way cater to everything that I do or that I enjoy, but I enjoy the Western so much because it's just it's a more honest look on what this country used to be. When we think about America, a lot of people have this highly aristocratic society in mind. But if they were to have, the Wild West in mind, I think that would give credence to what the country was more like before than not. Because we don't get to see how people really were. I ain't never met Granddaddy. Shit, I miss him too. Shit. I love black people. Y'all just don't know. I'm addicted to black people. I love us so much, you know. Not to a fault, but I love us so much that we, you know, sometimes I think black people get my interest wrong. You know what I'm saying? Uh I think they get my love for us wrong. I love all the other black skinned people that aren't my people genetically. I just don't love them for what they do all the time. I don't love their sin, you know, but I can love them, you know. The ones that I don't love, you know, I can stay away from them, which is what I do anyway. So, but I really do appreciate, you know, all that black people have done because it's gentlemen like your grandfather who have made it possible for a lot of these ingrate and ungrateful black actors of today, you know, uh, to be where they are, you know. This is why, like, I am the way that I am. For example, I never met none of my grandparents. You know, I told y'all this before. You know, I never met my grandparents, never. So I don't know what that's like to have grandparents. I don't know what it's like to really. I don't know. You know, um, is that a horrible thing? Uh, it has drawbacks. You know, I don't have a strong sense of my of all my lineage. I understand to maybe about 5 generations back, 4 generations back, you know. But meeting a grandparent would give you, you know, uh, the kind of guidance and structure, you know, that a lot of people just don't get. Once again, though, you know, I don't envy anyone, you know. Uh, I don't know. I just think it's just one of those things where I've always kind of coped with that my own way. I met my great grandmother, you know, but she was so old at the time, you know, that she was she wasn't normally so conversational, you know. But I remember she took to me very well, you know. She liked me a lot, uh, and she didn't like any of those. She didn't like any of her grandchildren, really, you know. But she used to let me come and sleep in the bed with her, all that stuff. So I don't have, you know, once again, I don't have those kind of memories. You know what I mean? I don't. I've never known that. I've never known that kind of relationship. And I'm always happy for people who have and people who are either grandparents or have known their grandparents. I always appreciate that. I always think that's a good thing, you know. Like when I say I've never called nobody grandma or grandpa endearingly, never. Uh, my mom and my dad, though, they've been called grandma and grandpa by my son. So I guess even though I don't have my son in my life anymore, when you know, before his mom moved out of state, before she was acting all crazy and stuff with my parents, you know, and they were still able to see my son, you know, that was cool. But once again, though, you know, it's black men like your grandfather who literally shaped. I mean, it's black men like him who shaped the foundation for why we even are able to do what we do, you know, and there's probably many interesting facts about Mr. Taylor that you may or may not be privy to that people will be like, I can't believe that he's the one who opened the door for that for black people. We'll never know. We'll never know. All those secrets are with him, you know? And that's the beauty of life and death, because people have to enjoy you while you're here. People have to learn from you what they can while you're here, you know. Um, I think for a young black man who's been through what I've been through, considering all the things that I've experienced and witnessed, I take a lot of things in stride very well. Um, Not just taking things in stride well, also just being fair. You know, I think I've done a lot of these things pretty well in Babylon. You know, that guidance that a lot of you had that I just didn't have. I mean, once again, if you guys really think I'm something, if I had something like grandparents and maybe my parents had like not divorced or whatever, like I would be a much more thorough person. I'm almost quite sure of it. You know, so however good at things it is, and I always think about that. You know, that I would just be that much better at everything. You know, um, it's one of those things. You know, we're in a land where we can't come to our full potential because there's a bunch of fornicators and adulterers running around, children of fornication and adultery. You know, these people these people don't really realize, like, these people aren't making these babies out of love anymore. You know, they're not making these children because they were in love with each other. They like lusted after one another. You know, this is why we have all these broken homes and broken relationships. You know, we have all these broken men and women because of it. And this does go back to who you lay down with. It does go back to you choosing somebody that is suitable for you. But at the same time, this goes down to how you choose to conduct yourself also. This is why I'm saying, while you're still stuck here, there are things that you should do. There's things that you should want to do. You know, you should want to have a stable diet. You should want to have a regimen where even if that regimen is only walking and all you do is walk, you know, I'm waiting for you to get the rest of that message out, Steve. But we're just here stuck, you know, and we have to say to ourselves, how are we going to cope with these circumstances? Right on? Because we have to act accordingly. We have to act the right way. There is a right way to act in Babylon. Oh, bro, but who hasn't practiced witchcraft? Once again, people, a lot of the things that people do every day is witchcraft, you know? And that's just the crazy innocence, and it is be crazy like that, man. But you know, this is why, bro, to me, these discussions are really important because we all get to share with each other, right? You know, a lot of different stuff that we don't normally, you know, get to share. People don't know. When I say stuff, I be dead ass serious. You know, even if I laugh and smile, like I be super, super serious. And how you hold yourself together is going to be the testament to whether or not you make it out of this place. America can't last forever. It won't. We're watching the death of a country right now. And all these guys that you're hearing say, oh, I just want to die before it happens, it's because they feel like they're too old to live in a new world. They're too old to create new standards, right on? They're too old to listen to new rules. They don't want to do that, you see? So what they would rather do is say, we hope that the white man can figure out a way to drag this shit out just long enough so I can die and go to the dirt, and then my kids can worry about it. Let me tell y'all something, man. Black people practiced witchcraft before they got here. They practiced it in slavery. Okay? This was another reason why they had to break black people. Because they was coming over here and putting hexes and shit like that on folks, and motherfuckers didn't know what to do. You bet your top, middle, and bottom dollar that some of the blacks that escaped, some of the successful ones, were witch doctors and people who had understanding of apothecary. Believe that. So their understanding of flora and fauna, plants, animals, things like that, of the highest level. It's another reason why they broke the language barriers down for the slaves. So his grandmother is not the only one who was like that before she had her moment where she figured that I better fix myself. I told y'all for a long time I was into telekinetics, all that stuff. Psychokinetics, aerial kinetics, hydrokinetics, electrokinetics, pyrokinetics, biokinetics. People don't even know that there's that much stuff. They don't even know all that shit exists. When I say for a long time as a teenager, enthralled up until maybe like 19, 20, enthralled in that stuff. I know all about it. I know all about uh, conjuring raw energy and all that stuff. I know all about it. That's why it's easy for me to not sell out. I don't know why. For me, it's because I know about those things. It's easy for me to say that there's something wrong with them. In order to conjure raw energy, a lot of people don't know this. You're channeling spirits, right on? That's what happens. And I don't mean to caveat so long. I'm gonna get back to the subject in a second. But in order to channel energy, in order to conjure up raw energy, one essentially has the ability to conjure up the spirits that are associated with that raw energy. So, in effect, if you can't conjure energy, or there's a failure to conjure the energy, there's a failure to conjure the spirit. Now back to Babylon. People here in Babylon, people here stuck in this land who are not native to this land. You've got a lot to lose. You have got a lot to lose. Because Let's just say there's a chance that we could leave this land, leave this place. Are you going to stay here because they offer you a nicer plot? We promise we'll stop hating you. We promise. What's going to be the determining factor for black people? You understand? What's going to make black people say, you know what? No more. No mas. I told y'all, they already did a fucking mass genocide on mixed people before. It's called the Civil War. Okay? They already did it once. They're getting ready for their second one. When the great conflict jumps off, it'll be too late for people to be trying to figure it out. See what I'm saying? It'll be too late for people to be trying to catch up. There's nothing to prep for. You can't prep for an earthquake or a volcano. Really, you can't. If you don't live in a place that doesn't have a certain natural disaster, you can't prep for that. You can't prep for a disaster to happen on a place where you plan to go on a vacation. See what I'm saying? You can't prep. Is it crazy? Is it crazy or is it just what it is, my friend? Because you got to realize, young man, as crazy as it is, as it seems, the reality is this. You have yet to be in a time. No, I know what you meant when you first said it. I know what you meant when you first said it. But I'm saying you have yet to live in a time, bro, where, like, when I was a kid, Tacoma was a top 10 dangerous place in the motherfucking country, a top 5 when I was a real little boy. But growing up until like 2002, 2003, bro, it was a top 10 most dangerous place in the nation. So it was like, all I kind of knew was like, you know, people doing shit that they weren't supposed to do. Like, that hood shit is normal to me, right on? It's regular to me because I grew up in that kind of environment. But for a child who grew up in the hilltop from, let's say, 2000 on up, and they grew up as a baby from 2000 on up, right? For them, it's totally different, dog, because they've heard about a couple of situations and a few things have happened, but there were real life murders taking place all the time when I was a kid, all the time. You know, I used to see people dealing drugs and man, it was so crazy. You know, like the first time I saw somebody dealing drugs, I was like 5 or 6 years old. You know, like life is changing, brother. It's changing back into one of those types of environments where things that people didn't used to see, things that were taboo or were not supposed to be seen, are going to be given much more credit than, you know, credence, excuse me, than they would have been. The credit will come afterwards, but the credence will come with the practice of them. You know, we haven't seen it yet, but get ready for the next wave of high school dropouts. It hasn't happened yet. They've been fighting that for the last 15, almost 20 years now. They started fighting it back when George W. Bush became the president. The No Child Left Behind was the attempt to fight the dropout rate. It wasn't the attempt to fight the inadequacy of teaching from one community in the other. It was to fix the ever declining dropout percentage that seemed like every year was getting lower. When I was a kid, 17 years old, I'll never forget it. They were showing us the math of the numbers of the kids who had started with us in high school. We started with almost 2,800 children. Graduation time came around, only a little over 2,200 of them graduated. 600 of them, bro, did not graduate. It's a lot of people. You feel me? When I say that's a lot of people, that's a lot of people who didn't graduate. The next wave of them is coming in your generation. Yep. Or the generation that came a few years after you were born, I should say. The one that you're closely connected to. Yep. It's coming. You know how it's going to come? With all these children being forced to accept little Johnny as a girl and not a boy. Right on? And that Suzanne is a boy, not a girl. Word up? Gonna come. It's gonna come in a bunch of different forms, but that's gonna be one of the most major ones. Parents will be stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I decide to homeschool my child? Well, will the state pay me to homeschool my child? What's the allotment for homeschooling my child if I decide to do that? If the state won't pay me, how do I work out homeschooling? Do they stick with the homeschool plan? Once again, these are things that haven't happened, that haven't manifested yet, because Miss Betsy DeVos hasn't fucked up enough things in the school system, but don't worry, she's working on it. She's almost there. I give her another 7 months, a year maximum. This time next year, by the start of school next year, and people will be, they won't even know that while you are still in Babylon was a video that touched on the shit that they're going to be suffering in, you know. So it's just, once again, that's something to look out for. The education is about to change, you know, for the absolute worst, you know. These children, I'm thinking of ways that parents are going to be totally fucked off by their children, and it's just going to be because their parents are like, "You're a girl," and she's like, "I'm a boy," and who knows if that becomes child abuse or not. Right? Who knows? Just like when CPS comes now to come for the children, right? CPS brings police officers with them. Cops kill people all the time. I would assume that a high number of the whites that they kill over domestic disturbances have to do with children. A disproportionate number. And in that number of children, I'm just going to say that the number of them that are like what I'm saying right now, delinquent, juvenile bastards, right, are so high that it's no wonder that these people are going to get delivered up to death by their own children. It's going to be like kids are going to be able to get their parents killed in a little bit. It's the stage is being set for it. Right on? You got all these little children on YouTube that are they're famous, and they're little boys and little girls. And they've got millions of little kids that follow them, hundreds of thousands of little followers. These are children, by the way. And I can't name any off the top of my head because I don't know any, but I know people who have kids whose children watch these dudes on YouTube. It's amazing. So when you think about the dynamic of what's coming, people should be utterly terrified, because if they haven't struck the fear of God into their children aren't going to fear them. Spare the rod, spoil the child type shit. So now you've given them up to the devices of wickedness that are going to be your eventual death. And I'm not saying you literally, figuratively, but my friends, I speak the you because there's a good chance that somebody who's listening to this is going to know somebody come the future who's going to end up in a situation just like this for the exact reason thereof. Once again, little boy wants to be a little girl wants to be a little boy. They don't want to go to school anymore. They're throwing out all the rules. They're slowly, steadily trying to massage people's way into, just like my boy was saying, over there, they're trying to make the pedophiles, I mean, not the pedophile stuff, but the bestiality thing in the UK, they're trying to make it, right on, so that way they can make pedophilia a thing, so that way they can eventually make incest a thing. And people have to realize that these are devices that the Canaanites practiced, the Egyptians practiced. So when you speak on, once again, while you're still here in Babylon, just realize that the children are going to give their parents up for devices that are probably more than likely wicked. And these are going to be children who are just of the age of accountability. You must understand why the wicked evil ones must die forever, why this world must be destroyed, why earth herself must be judged. She must be judged. She has placated the wickedness of the fallen ones on levels and in ways wherein which it cannot be accepted, nor can it be tolerated. But it must be endured. We must be patient and forbear all of the tomfoolery for the sake of our flesh and our souls, for the sake of the souls and the flesh of those that will come after us. Because we're seeking a chance at redemption here. See, we're not looking for a better day in a place where in which there has never been a better day. The best day in America for the black man ever will be the day that he's allowed to leave this land, because they are forcibly let go. Because the white man will never let him go. He's not going to let us go. They will not let the lifeblood of the world leave them and go join their own part and place in the world. You do realize that this is why they bring all those other blacks from other places that look just like us here to America. Because they're like, yeah, those are the ones that are talented like them. So go get them. They are peaceable. They are agreeable. Yea, they are passive and docile, servantile-like, where in which we can manipulate their minds and tell them to do things to the ones that look like them, that if we did it, we'd be called racist. But when they do it, at worst, they'll be called a coon or a sellout. But some will admire them and call them leaders amongst their people. They produced their Marcus Garveys and their W.E.B. Du Bois. They produced their Thurgood Marshalls. They, not us, they produced them. They produced them with the toils of their own mind and the wickedness of their works and their devices. While you are still here in this land, do not ever forget that you are a stranger. You are a sojourner in this land. You are an alien in this land. And all things are alien to you. Some people just have never taken the time to realize that they have been telling us the stories of this land for such a long time that we should, in fact, take serious what it is that they show us. I'll give you a prime example. I watched a Western few days ago that I had seen a long time ago. That I had, once again, when you're younger and you don't know anything, you can't speak on it because you don't know it. But I watched the movie, and in the movie, there's this character played by Jaman Hansu who plays in the movie The Amistad, right? That brother. Uh, he he plays an Aboriginal, and the reason why you know he's an Aboriginal is because he has straight hair. Now, what's so important about this is that even in the land of America, way back then, is that they wanted to show that there were different kinds of black people. They're not stupid. The people that you're dealing with are not stupid. The people that you're being forced to work under or work with are not stupid. They know what it is that they're forcing us to do. They understand the hand that we've been dealt. Think about this for a moment. If and only if you knew that the people that you were dealing with day in and day out were truly, undoubtedly special people, truly, truly godly people in the best form of themselves, would you want them to get back to their godliness if if that meant that what you were doing and living was going to come to an end? Yay, you were going to be destroyed? You would let that happen? Or would you continue for them to be under the guise, the fallacy of the mind that the book wherein which the white man will tell you that was written thousands of years ago was written by the white man himself, and that the God that they speak on in the book is not the Most High Creator, no, but the white man himself. So when people come to the fruition that that is a fallacy of mind, and a fallacy of mind that is one that is sickening and has cause for an ailment to be irremovable from the people in mass, we are suffering. Not just from what it is that they say is lack of resources and living in squalor conditions. No, 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 no. It's the lack of spiritual discipline, the lack of regard for one's soul, and that will have consequences. What can the wicked or the evil tell you about the after that they have not lived? What sense does that make? For you to listen to somebody to tell you that there's nothing after you die, it's just black, it's just blackness. For you to listen to somebody like that, you are stupid. That makes you stupid because you know better. Doesn't make you ignorant, makes you stupid. Don't be stupid, my friends. That's the fool in the Bible. Because fools normally know better. Can you dig it? A fool normally actually does know better. Much better than people think they do. Much better than they let on. Everything that a fool says isn't foolish. But that doesn't mean that they're taken serious. They're a fool. However, we're in this land, we're in this place, and they have it to where in which they want you to believe that their words are undoubtedly the truth, and that some man who follows, once again, no clan of them follow these rules to the T, not even close to halfway. And they want me to believe that these are people who actually wrote these rules, people who can't even give you the definition of their biological origins. They want me to believe that these people wrote the most righteous statutes ever to be known, ever on this planet. Yea, I may argue the universe because I don't know about any life anywhere else. So I would assume that the statutes here would have to be the most righteous stat. The virtue of righteousness wouldn't change from one dimension to the other. That means that the the paradigm of who the Most High is would have to change. The idea of who the Most High, and I don't see that changing. So righteousness is righteousness, and wicked is wicked. Evil is evil, and good is good. And that is just all there is to it. And because you're in a land stuck in a place where you can't get out just yet, you're not going to be able to get. You're not just going to leave here on your own. Okay. But you're going to have to, once again, grow the fortitude, gather and manifest the integrity of discipline for oneself. I didn't say that you weren't going to sin anymore. I didn't say that. Don't put words in my mouth. I just said that you were going to seek after what it is that is not you, that's greater than you, that cannot be explained, nor it cannot be attained nor obtained. It cannot be sought to be understood. It can only be sought after. And that is the best that you or I could ever do. Hoping one day that it bestows its grace and its mercy upon to us out of its own recognizance. Nothing that we will have done will have made that what it is. The great mighty one shall come back one day. I promise you. I can't make this up. People might think that I'm crazy for saying that, but who will be the fool? Me, if I have to live out my whole life and die and go to the dirt, to one day for the great one to come here anyway, to prove me right through death, to resurrect me and then do whatever, or in this life that I'm living, because who knows what's going to happen while we yet live. Right. So how foolish do I sound to say that the Most High does live? He is the living God. And while you were here yet in Babylon, you should look for him, because he's the only thing that's going to save you. He's the only thing that can save you. You cannot escape this place. If you can, tell me where you can go to get respected and won't be treated as the descendant of a slave, or just lesser than because of the hue of your skin, because straight hair and funny colored eyes is the order of the day. Anyone can say whatever they'd like. I don't have to be in favor with the people. The people don't have to be in favor with me. I'm going to do what I know is written down that makes sense, not only to a level of my health, not only to my finances, not only to my emotions and my mental well-being, but also my spirituals and my soul. So it's just awkward that one book has statutes, has rules written within it, that if I don't break these rules, I can never feel violated as a person. You're not going to feel, it would be almost impossible to get sick and unhealthy if you never ate certain foods. It's impossible. Right. It would be impossible to have anguish or pain if people didn't do things like adultery or practice fornication. It's impossible. There's no way a person, you couldn't feel the anguish from that. There's no shame to feel from something that you don't do. There's no way that a person could feel like they've let the Most High down by bowing down to a statue or calling another something else that is not the creator of all things their God and showing it piety. There's no shame to feel for something that you don't do. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. So just like if people who, this might sound like an awkward analogy, but the best thing I could compare it to is like if people followed the established rules of the road, it's impossible for there to ever be what is called a vehicle collision on the road. It's impossible for a collision to take place. If everyone were to actually be in conjunction with the law, it would be impossible for an accident, a vehicle collision, to ever take place. Therefore, all the consequences that come from the punishments from this case that are rendered from that are rendered null and void. So the reward of following the law, the consequence, I should say, is there's a reward for that. You gain from that, and the reward is life to continue living. See, we all accept that we're not going to live forever. We accept that wholeheartedly. No one wants to die an early death. No one wants to die a death that is meaningless. But if people don't get it into their minds that we can't continue to live the way that we've been living, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Not as a whole. We can't continue to tell ourselves in our minds that, okay, so long as I don't get caught doing something that is wicked, I'll be all right. Wickedness is wickedness, and it should be something that we abstain from. We should not look to do what is wrong. We should always try to do what's right. And I know that sounds like, oh, get off your soapbox because you just said that nobody's going to go without sin. That's fine. That's fine. But people should still look to do their best at all times. And that's what is lacking for most people, is that they don't try their best at all times. I guarantee you, most guys that you'll meet who failed at something will tell you one of the most significant things that they failed at, they didn't put all their effort into it. And that's why they failed. Every dollar that I still own, I'll put them all up. I'll put every dollar up. And I guarantee that for a fact that you will, for every black man who can say that he has failed at something, or there's a reason why he doesn't have something that he wants, he will tell you at some point he didn't put all his energy into it. He'll tell you himself. He's not gonna lie. He's not gonna fucking make it up. He's just gonna say, you know what? At this junction, at this place in time, I didn't do this, this, and this like I should have. And it's the same thing for women, for a sister. A sister will tell you the same thing. If I had done this differently, my life would have worked out a lot differently. You know, this happens to people. People don't try their best. Now, why they don't try their best, there's a million and one reasons. But the best reason I could give you is that they're caught up in things that have nothing to do with them being a better person. You see? And this is the issue, is that they think being a better person means that I have to stop drinking and smoking cigarettes. Oh, forget what he's talking about. I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that. Whatever your personal agenda is as a person, that's what you should be seeking to gain and to get forward. And if you're around individuals who don't allow for that type of growth to take place, then you're in the wrong arena, my friend. It's just you're in the wrong place. And I'm saying that while you're here in this place, in this land, as a foreigner, as a stranger, it should be in your mind that trying your best, number one, to stay alive, that should be always on your mind. And then number two, to be the best person that you can be at all times. Because the last thing you want to leave behind, because all people do leave behind a legacy. This is something that most people won't ever say about us, is that you're going to leave a legacy. Okay? You're going to leave something behind. And the last thing you want to leave behind is for people to believe that you never had the willingness to put forth your best foot. You see? Because that's all we have. And I can't stress that enough. You will meet many people who have so-called failed. You know, I don't know what a failure is. You know, I know people who are going through hard times. You know, a failure is what they've made of it. You know, I know what a failure is in my book. You know, I know what my failures are as a person. I know where I could have tried harder or done better. You see what I'm saying? You can always hypothetical things. Like I could hypothetically say, if I had never been going to the casino while my baby's mama was pregnant, things would have worked out differently. Not that she knew that I was ever going to a casino, but I could just say that things might have been different. Right. I can argue that because I didn't put forth my best effort with her. Maybe had I been trying to go see her as opposed to being like, fuck it, let me just go get some drinks, gamble at one of these tables, get a comp meal. You see what I'm saying? Like when your mind isn't right, you can't do the right things. But at the same time, if you're not disciplined to do the right things, you're not going to do the right things. And you not doing the right things won't bother you. You see what I'm saying? So it took for me to come back to a situation with myself to recognize what it is that I was missing, you know? And I was missing some of the most important things about me, you know, things that were needed, you know, because I didn't challenge myself. There was no struggle. There was no toil. I didn't put up any effort. I didn't fight. I just said, all right, you have it your way. So when you don't fight for something and you don't stand up for something, you see what I'm saying? Anything can happen. And you have to be willing to fight and stand up for your faith, you know. If somebody tells you right now that the Most High is not real, in a gesture and a manner where in which they would do harm to you if you spoke those same words again, in that moment you should be willing to do whatever it takes to not only to defend your honor as a person, right, but also to quell whatever the violence is that's been brought to you. Can you dig it? Because if somebody tells me that, okay, he's not real, I'm like, whatever you say, bro. But if they're really like, no, he's not real, I'll beat your fucking ass if you tell me he's real again. At that point, I'm not going to separate fearfully from this person because I've had enough discipline and faith to follow the Most High. So now I need to show this person that this is a tangible effort that I believe in. This isn't something fake. This is real. And you need to give it everything that you got. You see what I'm saying? Right. That's why I'm talking about trying your best. Because to defend yourself is going to take that effort. Right. It's a full, you see how that all went full circle? And for those of you who can, I mean, because I know everybody I'm dealing with is pretty much a sharp tool. But for those of you who really got that, can you dig it? Because that's how it goes. No, we're not supposed to know anything. We're not supposed to know anything because people know they're haughty, they're high-minded, and their noses are in the clouds because they believe that they are children of the Most High. They say, hey, I'm special and I should be treated special. As opposed to saying that if I'm really an Israelite, the only way I could be in this place is if my ancestors did something wrong and take full accountability for everything. You see what I'm saying, brother? To not have realized earlier that the Most High was just the Most High that's my only fault. Because I could have never have thought I was his child or thought I was an Israelite and could have followed those statutes. So the lack of my personal lack of reverence to whom I knew as God, you know what I'm saying? Why are you calling a white man Esau, dog? See, that's what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? You know, like that's the point, bro. You know, is that while we're here in Babylon, we can't learn the wrong things. We can't go on. While we're here in Babylon, carrying on. Thank you. I'm gonna use this to bolster this right here up because I think I'm at the crescendo of all of it. While we're still here, we can't possibly believe that people who are not genetically related to us are related to us. If Jacob's black, Esau's black. It's that simple. The Romans are black. the Grecians are black. They didn't become white people until sometime way later in the ADs. I did a video proving this shit a couple weeks ago, and I even brushed up on it last week. So the whole point is this, is that what we were taught here was wrong, and it goes against what's in the book. It goes against what's in the book. Because if you're saying that Esau are the black people amongst black people who were teaching them wickedness, I could believe part of that. I could believe that there are some Edomites among the Israelites right now. I could totally see that. But Job was an Edomite, and he was a righteous Edomite. So I would have to say that not all Edomites are evil and wicked. Once again, I'm giving you my understanding of the scripture. That's just what I understand based on what I've read. While I'm still here, I'm not going to believe that a white man is my genetic fucking cousin, brother, or sister. None of that. They're not my people. What I know is this, bro, is that in the book it says that the wicked are estranged from the womb. And the Most High said that he formed us in the womb. So whether they're Israelites or not, if they're the Most High's people, he formed them. If they're wicked, Israelite or not, they're strange. Can you dig it? So when you talk about Esau teaching people this or that, it's like you're calling a white man your people, dog. Once again, me and you are not on the same level. Nowhere close. We're nowhere close on the same level. Right on? You could be, in your mind, hella levels above me, and I could be way under you. But the difference is this right here, though, Tribe Issachar North Kingdom, is that I call myself Demetrius Jones. Right on? You call yourself Tribe Issachar North Kingdom. Can you dig it? And I'm not knocking you, but that's the difference in our mentality, is that I'm just me. Right on? With the exception of my man Apple Yah's Eyes, Steven. Everybody else's name you can see here, dog. Everybody else. So what do you mean? Right. Had to be put in my heart? Slave name. Who doesn't have a slave name? Who doesn't have a slave name? When the Most High renamed Jacob to Israel, was that not his slave name for Jacob? No? You're going to tell me it's not? That's not his servant name to the Most High? Tell me it's not right now. Once again, bro, while we're in Babylon, y'all, seek after the Most High. Search him out. Look for him. Because he's all you got. You don't have Demetrius. Because Demetrius could get struck by lightning and die tomorrow. Right on? Demetrius could get laid out, struck by lightning, die tomorrow. I'll tell you who named me in a moment. You'll be surprised. I could get up right now, go to the kitchen, make a glass of milk. While I'm drinking the milk, just choke on the milk and die. I mean, I could be gone. But the Most High and his statutes are forever. The things that I have spoken to you will have been things that have been spoken to people long before the Israelites were ever moved off of the land. Can you dig it? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I mean by being disciplined. He's all you got. He is all you got. And if you just lean on him, I lean on the Most High. Y'all don't even know. I lean on the Most High like a crippled man. Like a broken, crippled man, I lean upon the Most High. I love the Most High. He's all I got. I mean, when I say he's all I got. Yeah, I have people in my life, but I don't worry about them. You know, I care about them, but I don't worry about them. I worry about my relationship with the Most High, how he feels about what I feel, what I've done. I meditate upon him all the time. All day, every day, I think about The Most High. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot that I do when it comes to just thinking. And when I say I meditate upon Him, I just think on Him. Right. You know, not chanting omen and thinking on no demons and shit. I'm talking about just what can I do to make better supplication? What can I do to be a better person? How can I show the Most High that I really am grateful for all the things that He's put into my life? How do I show the Most High that He is awesome and amazing to me? I can't extol His name to the stars high. I can't say enough. There's not enough good things. All the people on this earth couldn't praise Him enough. They can't. It's impossible. We couldn't be in worship just forever worship long enough of who the Most High and just how great He is. And it's just like people are like, you sound like some kind of fanatic. And I'm like, no, this is the greatness of His majesty. And until a person has the mind to capitulate, to acquiesce, to surrender their heart, their mind, and their soul to such an idea that there is a being, a force, singular, who is ultimate, they have nothing. They will have nothing. They will be nothing. And they will be in a land full of their enemies, calling people that that are their sworn enemies, the heathen, Gentiles. They will call them your brethren. And that is why I say, while you were still in Babylon, be careful. And just a caveat real quickly, my brother. My cousin Regina named me Demetrius. My mother is 13 out of 14, but 12 out of 13 who survived. Um, her niece, my cousin, named me, and I didn't have a name for like a whole day. And if you know the name Demetrius, you know that it's a Greek name. It's Grecian, right on. It's not American. You would, if you knew anything, you would know that there have been many Greek kings named Demetrius, dog. What are you talking about? Right. So when you go about it this way, and the Grecians, just in case you didn't know, the actual Japhetite Grecians are our genetic cousins. So I have a borrowed name for one of our cousins. It would be like me having a Kemetic name, and I'm not a Kemite. I'm not a Hamite, at least for sure not full. But I know I'm a Shemitic man, right on, possibly Hamitic-Shemitic, but for sure Shemitic. So when you say that, I have to question your understanding of your people. You know what I mean? I mean, like, are you aware of that? Are you aware that the Greeks, the Japhetites, the people from Kittim, um, um, what are they called? What are those people called? The Etruscan people, and a few other Mediterranean area people are Japhetites. They're children of Japheth. They are his children. I promise to God they are. They mixed up with Gentiles too, but that's neither here nor there. I can't get into all that. My name comes from our Japhetic uncle who has Gentile children. So I have the name of Gentile king, what people will call Gentile kings in their understanding, but is a Grecian. It's a Grecian name. So that's where my name comes from, and I just told you who named me that. Now, back to my whole point of while I'm here, or while we're still here, don't get lost, y'all, in what doesn't matter. What he's talking about does matter, but it's not what I'm talking about, so I can't get too carried away into it. I can only caveat like that. But all I can say is that there's too much for brothers and sisters to have seen and to have understood to take serious what they've learned in this land as the final tell all. The Bible's teachings are taught all over the world. People are like, well, so is the Quran. I'm like, but the Quran is. You had people who willingly converted to the belief of the Israelites. Willingly. People were forcibly converted. I'm talking about a lot of these regions were forcibly converted to Islam. This is why some of them don't practice the Islamic faith all the way outright. There's no wonder to it. This is why. As I push into the 11 o'clock hour of the Pacific Standard Time, I know that some of y'all are on the Eastern Standard, and then some of y'all on Central Standard are already past the midnight hour. So I'm gonna get ready to wrap this up. I'm gonna give it about 5 more minutes, maybe 10. But what I just want to speak on real fast is not letting people affect your morals. You know, if you allow people to tell you things like white people are Esau, that'll affect your morality because then you won't see the issue with laying down with the white person. You'll be like, oh, that's just Esau. That's just Esau. And do you hear the sickness in that? You're calling a heathen an unknown, unnamed, non genetically classified heathen, Gentile thing, your people. And then you're confusing other people who are like, they're not our people. Because now they're having to go and speak their minds against all the other people who believe that they are our people. And then you have people who, once again, who are not even truly black people, who claim to be black people, who claim to be Israelites, who claim that Esau is white. So this is why I can't appreciate when people say things like that. Because it's easy for them to speak and spew that, once again, out the side of their larynx, out the side of their esophagus, but it's much harder for them to stand upon that. This is a sword that I ordered for $100. It's called a gladius. You're not going to be able to see the design back here, but it's Damascus steel. See, morally speaking, I don't ever feel the need to force anything that I believe onto the people. I will speak my mind, though. If you don't think that the sword is important, that's on you. While I still fight for my rights to get my guns and stuff like that back, and I'll have those back soon enough. But while that's still happening, I have I have that nice little piece right there. It works. It's real. It's just one of those things where, are you going to listen to somebody like this guy if he says that a sword won't work in a real hand-to-hand combat? You think if I cut that sword on your clothes, do you think that your skin is stronger than that metal? As my brother Andre Wickham said, tell him to squeeze it real hard. So that's all I'm going to tell y'all to do with these people that are not black people. Go ahead and squeeze it real hard, y'all. Okay? They are instruments of war of the worst kind against us. And they don't care about us. And they'll continue to lie to us. And they'll continue to feed us their nonsense. It's practical for people to believe that a black man is, what's the word I'm looking for? Easily convinced, easily manipulated. It's easy for people to believe that because for the last 100 years, for the last 100 years now, we have had many mouthpieces speak for black people, speak at black people, speak to black people, but not do for the blacks. You can't name 10 rich black people in the last 100 years who went broke trying to better the conditions for black folks. It's never happened. It'll never happen. It will never happen because they don't have the mind for that. Because it's all about the money grab. This is the same money grab that's what ruined Israel, the Israelites. Right on. As opposed to being worried about their tribes and wanting to become a kingdom, you see, because by establishing the kingdom, you effectively took the ability for judges to be righteous judges out of their hands. Because King David, believe it or not, was the only righteous king. Like, out of him and Saul, he's the only righteous one. And the rules or the norm is set after David. So Solomon and Jeroboam are byproducts of everything that happens after David. But people don't realize that why this is so important is because King David himself is the epitome of what the kingdom could have been, but he ruined that himself. So when we have these people who don't see that we're here in a place stuck. We were never supposed to be a kingdom. We were only supposed to be the tribes. So that way there could be righteous judgment passed amongst the people. The wickedness of the king allowed for wickedness to reign within the people. Because every man did do that which was right within his own eyes. But you know what though? There were judges. There were judges. And if you think that these judges were just patrolling one city block or the equivalent thereof, and everybody was just following the law, clearly you're mistaken. Clearly, you obviously don't have a clue of what these people were doing and the kind of mobbing out they were doing, the miles that they used to cover, going from village to village to village, checking dudes, putting other dudes in charge. Okay, you'll be one of my lackeys under me while I'm a judge. You know what I mean? It's just our people lost their way. And this is the morality part. Until we're willing to cast the judgment upon ourselves again and to say we do deserve judgment and harsh judgment, it's never going to change. We're just going to have black people that are rich with money who look at other black people who don't have money like they're just something that they can exploit, like the rest of the people exploit. The whole world exploits black people. Other black people exploit black people. And that's that's where we're going to be at, because there's no one willing to call out the wicked ones amongst our people, the people who are the goats and the rams amongst our people, the tare amongst the wheat, because they will say things to you that are, truly perfidious lies, as a brother would like to say. We got to steal that word real quick. Even though I've been using words like that, but just not in my my daily lexicon of words to use, but most definitely fitting. Who said that, dog? What are you talking about? No, dog, that doesn't even make sense. Look at the logic of what you're saying. Y'all, we got 2 more minutes. I'm gonna break it down and I'm ending it on this right here. He says, you're only Israel if you're black. But if you're not, if you're a Hamite, but there is no black person, but only if you were brought here on slave ships. But if you are an Olmec, you are an Hamite, but not solid black. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Please, bro. Please. Please. That is like some 4-year-old kindergarten shit. You know what I mean? That you just strum together. Okay. Semites, Hamites, and Japhetites, all those people look alike. They look similar. I'm not even dark brown, dummy. What are you talking about? Once again, can't nobody even see you. I can't even see your face. I can't distinguish what you look like. But we have people like you who come in here all the time. I don't know why you're here telling me Esau's the white man, but then trying to tell me about black people. Check this out, y'all. While you are still here in Babylon, as I get ready to close this out, and I salute my people. While you are still here, please remember 2 things. We are amongst the tare who have been mingled in with the wheat. We are amongst people who believe things that are not true, falsehoods that they want you to believe are undoubtedly, indubiously correct. While you are still here in Babylon, seek out your Father, look for the Most High, hold yourself accountable, be responsible, and most of all, be courageous, so that way your righteousness may show to others, and you may be a light in a dark place. With that said, my people, I salute you. I love y'all with all my heart. You know I do. You have a blessed week. I'll drop off a couple little nuggets this week. Check out my other channel, Love Is Not a Game, The Sleeping with the Enemy. I dropped that a couple days ago. It's pretty filthy. All right, I'm gone.